This one's going back to Edmonton.
Well, a tremendous Thursday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. As always, presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province of Alberta. How you doing? I'm Jason Gregor. He's Connor Halley. You can always get involved. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 in our inbox, because there's lots to talk about. The Oilers, they practice today at the community rink because Snoop Dogg has taken over the main arena. He will have a concert tonight. Gonna have to get some air fresheners in the building after tonight. You kidding me? Oh, jeez. Might be a little weedy smell in there tonight, I would think. So, Snoop Dogg, will he come out wearing an Oilers jersey at some point? Yeah, I think he will. Hey, the team's in the Stanley Cup final. They're playing tomorrow night. No brainer, no doubter that that will be happening tonight. If you're going to the concert, enjoy it. Oh, it's on a pretty good show. So the Oilers at the community rink today, they actually had to have their media availability upstairs in Suite 99, the suite in honor of the great number 99, Wayne Gretzky. And Skinner, McDavid, Ekholm, Perry, and Knobloch spoke today. Meanwhile, the Panthers stayed in Florida, practiced, and now they are en route. Don't worry, there's no weather. You don't have to track their plane, but they are scheduled to arrive. They left on time, so they should be arriving in Edmonton. I think they have a press avail around 6 or 6:30 tonight. You will see some changes for the Panthers. Doesn't look like there'll be any changes for the Oilers, by the way. Evander Kane skated today. Knobloch said, we've got some decisions to make, but Kane didn't take one. He didn't rotate in once in the line rushes on the fourth line. Because if he does come in, that's where he'd play. Right? And then you would think it's probably going to be Derek Ryan coming out. You'd assume. So he didn't skate there once today. I'd be very surprised. I don't expect Kane to play in Game 6. I guess Game 6, that's another story. We'll see what happens if the Oilers manage to get to Game 6. Florida, meanwhile, a few changes. We saw it last game after his turnover or ill-advised pass that Connor Brown intercepted and went in and scored on the breakaway. Oliver Ekman-Larsson has been on the number one power play unit in place of Brandon Montour, who made that play. And the fact that, you know what, they're -1. Their first unit power play can't get anything done. So I don't know if it's just one errant pass that got Montour the demotion. But either way, look for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Paul Maurice spoke about it today. He'll be on the number one power play unit. Other change, Kyle Okposo, who took the penalty that led to the Corey Perry goal. Wasn't a terrible play, but anyway, he's coming out, and Nick Cousins will draw in. So Cousins and Lomberg. Lomberg made his Stanley Cup debut in Game 5, and now it'll be Nick Cousins making his debut this season for the Panthers in Game 6. So they'll be with Stenlund and Cousins and Lomberg. And look for Nick Cousins. He's another rat, right? Somewhat of a history of cheap shots. So the Oilers will have to be poised and controlled when he's on the ice. The other change, Verhaeghe and Rodriguez will swap again. They're going to put Rodrigue with Bennett and Tkachuk, and Carter Verhaeghe will go with Barkov and Reinhart. So there you have it. Those will be the changes that we know heading into Game 6. Obviously, nothing changes in goal for the Edmonton Oilers. Nothing changes on the back end, nor should it, because the Oilers, hey, right now they like things. They're playing well. So what would you change? So away we go. We got a lot of texts coming in already. 833-401-1440. We'll talk more about that. Also, there is lots. Like I will say this. That it's completely ridiculous that the Stanley Cup final could end on Monday the 24th of June. You have the player awards 2 days later. Like, let's, for argument's sake, let's say Connor McDavid was up for the Hart Trophy. He wouldn't be, and let's say he was a favorite. Let's say this was last year. Right? He had 150 points. He clearly was going to win the Hart. Well, when do you think the parade for Edmonton would be? And the celebration? Like, you think he's going to leave to go to Vegas for that award ceremony? It's ridiculous. What the hell is the NHL doing? Look at the American League schedule. The American League is actually behind the NHL in their playoffs. Their playoffs, if it goes the distance, so Game 4 is tonight, and right now the Firebirds are leading the series 2-1. So let's say the Bears, though, win tonight. Hershey does. Now it's 2-2. Game 5 is Saturday. Game 6 is Monday. Game 7 is Wednesday night. Wednesday night. So you have NHL teams who their main affiliate could be playing on the Wednesday night, 2 days before the draft. Like, what? Just, this is dumb. Okay, originally, the latest possible date when the NHL sent out their schedule in March was that the Stanley Cup final at the latest was supposed to wrap up on the 21st of June. But then they changed their mind and announced the 24th. Like, I just, like, think about it. Whoever wins, if it gets to Game 7, Florida or Edmonton. So you work your whole life for players, management, coaches, everyone. And those teams, you know, the losing team is just like, oh, God, now we got to go to the draft. Okay, but they'll go. But what about the winning team? Right, you got guys in management that want to celebrate it because that's what the whole goal is, to win a championship. And then they're like, well, sorry, you don't get a lot of time. You got to be at the draft. I'm sorry. This should never happen again. And I actually just spoke to an assistant GM from a team who won in the last 5 years, and he could not believe it. He goes, you know how much fun we had and just how rewarding it wasn't. Like, and fun isn't just partying and going crazy like the young guys do that. This is assistant GM, right? Older guy, probably late 40s. He's like, yeah, sure, you have one night, maybe two, but more of it is just sitting back and relishing all the hard work that paid off. And, you know, and to celebrate it with your scouts and everybody together and family, and especially your family, because for scouts, man, you give away so much of your time. Right? You're on the road a lot of times more than the players. So the NHL really needs to evaluate what they're doing here. It shouldn't, I would say the latest day that the cup could be handed out should be 9 days before the draft. That's what it should be. Do the math in your head, figure it out. We always know when the draft is. Adjust the schedule accordingly. It's pretty simple. But they didn't do it, so oh well. But I just will say, man, I'm going to feel sorry for whichever organization wins and the people don't get the proper amount of time to celebrate what is going to be a monumental occasion. So there we go. Now, a few other texts to get to. Also on the show today, TR will be by as well. We'll have Mike Kelly from NHL Network and Sport Logic joining us. We're going to hear from McDavid, Stuart Skinner, who beats McDavid quite often, according to Skinner, in a lot of the games on the plane. Yaremchuk will be by. Livingston, Ron Lowe, former Edmonton Oilers head coach. He's always a beauty for some good stories. Speck will be by. We'll talk a little Elks football in the show. Edmonton Stingers in action tonight. If you're going, if maybe you're a little stressed, you're like, I gotta get my mind off of hockey. We'll go see the Stingers game tonight. There's some tickets available still for walk-ups. And hey, they're rolling. They're 6-2. It's very affordable for your family. The kids will love it. There's lots of stuff going on before the games, during the game. It's really great entertainment. So check it out for the Edmonton Stingers. Hey, Greggs, I know we should be focused, but I'm just curious, on an off day, when you look at the Oilers, they got a lot of unrestricted free agents. How concerned are you that they won't be able to sign all of them? Well, if you go down the list of Oilers UFAs, you know, it's mainly their forwards. Now, obviously, Vinny Desharnais on the back end, Troy Stetcher. I don't think Troy Stetcher will re-sign here. Vincent Desharnais, is a player. And, you look at like Vincent Desharnais had a very solid season, right? Like, obviously you have to put your ego aside in the playoffs. He wants to play. And, he'll look at it and say, okay, it probably hurts him a bit that he's now not playing. And when I say hurts him a bit financially, not a lot, but he's a 6'7", 28-year-old right shot defenseman who's shown signs that he's improving. And there's not a lot of right shot D. And so Vincent Desharnais, I could see him at doing what Brett Kulak did. Remember when Brett Kulak, he got that close? I remember Brett Kulak saying, you know what? You kind of owe it to yourself just to see what's out there. Free agency opened. They took 12 hours. The offers came in, and he elected to stay in Edmonton. I think I would see the same thing with Vincent Desharnais. Now, there's always the risk that the Oilers like, well, here's your offer. And once July 1st comes, the offer still stands, but now we might have to look for others, and we don't want to wait because we might want to sign another right shot defenseman. So, that's the cat and mouse game a little bit. So I could see Desharnais testing it, free agency. Like, think about it. It's June 20th. You're 10 days away from free agency. You've gone this close. You probably owe it to yourself just to see. Maybe there's a team that's willing to give you $2.5 million. I don't know. Up front, Warren Foegele, I think, is going to be too expensive. I don't expect Foegele back. Corey Perry, I think they will re-sign him, and Corey Perry will probably be at league minimum. I won't be surprised at all for that. Sam Carrick, they have Derek Ryan for one more year. Probably not. Adam Henrique, they'd love him. But you got to remember, Adam Henrique scored 24 goals this year. I had 50 points. I don't see him signing like what they could afford him to sign for, which is probably max $2 million. So I think he's gone. Now, Sam Gagner said he would like to play again. Right? He didn't really play in Edmonton this year. So now his family's from here. Would he do it? That's a tough one for me. I don't know where it stands there. I don't have a good feel either way. So then there's Janmark and Brown, who, of course, have been very good in the postseason. Now, neither one of them had great numbers in the regular season. We all know that Connor Brown, like his bonus overage is done, right? It's already been paid out. It's separate. So Janmark back at $1 million, I think he would gladly come here for it. Like, I don't think he's going to get a significantly larger amount on the free agent market. I think the Oilers want him. Well, I know 100% the Oilers are very interested in re-signing him. Same with Connor Brown. I think Janmark's probably an easier one to sign. So Brown's younger, has a little bit higher of a pedigree when it comes to scoring goals. But again, the Oilers kind of, gave him a pretty good deal last year. Would he sign around the same, $1 million? Right? 1.1, 1.2 type of thing. I think if the Oilers could get both of those guys for 2.2, they'd be very happy. So the fan base. So I think those are the two for sure. I've also said I think Corey Perry does come back. I think the organization loves him for his leadership. You know what? Maybe he's a guy who plays 50 games in the regular season. He didn't play every game in the playoffs. Doesn't have to play every game in the playoffs. He knows his role. I think they'd like him around the room. And if you're on a league minimum contract, if by chance they find ways to upgrade guys at the deadline, then that's what they do. So those would be the three. I think Brown, Janmark, and Perry. Henrique, Foegele, Carrick, I don't see it. Desharnais, that's an interesting one because, depending on what his cap hit number is, right? Because I think they look and say, hey, Vinny, if you're on our team, you're a third pair defenseman. Nothing wrong with that, but that's how they view him. So that's where I'm at on the free agents for the Oilers. Hey guys, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but would a possible Stanley Cup parade be in Edmonton on Wednesday? Oh, geez, I haven't thought about that, to be honest, Ryan. So they win Monday night, they'd win in Florida. I think they might stay in Florida for the night. I could be wrong on that, but that's a pretty long overnight flight. Do you want to spend the whole night celebrating the plane? Maybe, but you can't fit it with all your family members, right? So I could see it staying there. I could be wrong, but possibly I could see it. So, you know what? Plus, the other advantage for Edmonton is if they stay and party in Fort Lauderdale and whatever, like they could go out in a lot of places and kind of celebrate as a group, but not a lot of people would know them. Like, if they do go out and celebrate in Edmonton, I would always say this to people. We had Brad Winchester on, and he said, you know what? It was great when the fans were respectful. So don't be like the guys when McDavid went to get alcohol, okay? Don't do it. Right? Treat them how you would want to be treated. That's what I always try to tell people. How would it make you not uncomfortable? Think about that if you see them out. So let's say they do stay Monday, then they're traveling Tuesday. Yeah, I guess because of the draft, the parade's Wednesday, but I wouldn't be stunned if it's Thursday. Honestly, I wouldn't. Now, the Oilers don't have a first-round selection. I know their scouts want to get in, but could you have the parade and then take a charter to Vegas Thursday night for the management team? I think you could. Right? Like the Oilers don't have any players that are going to be going to the awards. Right? Like McDavid, win or lose, I don't think he's going to the awards. I'd be stunned. Right? Like I don't think he's going to win. And even if he did, if they win the cup, he ain't going. Like you win the cup Monday night, you think he's going to the NHL awards for Wednesday in Vegas at like 6:00? There's no chance. So, Wednesday or Thursday would probably be my guess. I don't know which day, but I would guess it would be that. So, but honestly, I haven't thought about it. I have no idea. And to be honest, I guess I would say this. I think the organization wouldn't even have that conversation until they win Game 6. Because then it's a legit possibility. You're either going to win Game 7 or you're going to lose Game 7. So I would assume within the because somebody, now I'm not talking players, of course not, but somebody in the organization who's in charge of that will have to start planning it. Right? They'll have to have a blueprint. Like, it's not like it's that hard. Like, come on. Here's the parade. Where do you, I don't think it would take long, right? You do it on a Saturday morning after you win Game 6. Get a few people. Hey, this is where we'd like it to go. Boo, boo, this is where it ends. We're done. I don't think it'd be that difficult. So it'd be a while since there'd be a parade. There's lots of fans who've never been to one. It would probably be pretty fun. It would be rather busy, I would think. So, hey, Gregor, do you know who the guest musician for tomorrow's game will be? K-Fed. I don't think they have one, K-Fed. You got to remember, the reason they're able to do that for games 1, 2, 3, and 4 is because those games are guaranteed games. Game 5 isn't a guarantee. Game 6 isn't a guarantee. You have to lock these musical acts in advance, right? There wasn't a musical act before Game 5, and there isn't one before Game 6, simply because you have to pay and you have to commit to the musician that they have a gig, right? You can't say, well, it's only if it's necessary. It's not how it's going to work. So that's why they don't have any other plans for that. So, breaking news. Prominent Edmonton radio host discusses Stanley Cup parade prior to Game 6. Let's give Florida even more ammo. Why don't we? From JCD. JCD, just FYI, Florida is in the air right now. They're probably somewhere, maybe over, they left a few hours ago. So maybe they're over Denver. I know a lot of people listen to the show, and ain't them right now. Okay, let's be real here. I answered a question. Simple as that. We're not superstitious on our show. What we talk about has zero impact on the show. So there you go. I don't asking a question. Hey, when would they have it? Like I said, Game 6. As strange as it sounds, I think it might be harder to win Game 6 early on. Like Florida comes here. You know what? Lots of people are expecting Edmonton to win Game 6. And I'm not saying they can't. I actually think they will. Because they've been a really good home team. And you have home ice advantage. You get last change, right? So you're going to have a few more beneficial matchups for Connor McDavid. And all he needs is, as we saw last game, he can have one shift and then go through 4 guys and it's a goal. And the Oilers feel very confident in their ability to score right now. Stuart Skinner has been excellent in games 5, 6, and 7. I know if you want to extend it to game 4, you can. But game 5, 6, and 7, when there's chances to, eliminate or be eliminated, Skinner in this year's playoffs, dating back to game 5 against the Kings, really good. And he'll want to continue that. Hey, guys, given the very short offseason and some guys look banged up, what are the odds they start next season with guys on LTIR? From Cody. It's a good question, Cody. I do know this. The Oilers will not, you don't want to start the season in LTIR. It gives you don't want to do it. Now, some cases you don't have a choice, but they're not going to want it. Like the last few years with Clefbaum, they were in LTIR before the season even started. Now you can get down, if you have a guy who you're going to put on there, would the Oilers have room so at least you don't start like before the season begins, right? It's just, it limits any sort of flexibility you can accrue cap space. And so even if it's to their inability to accrue cap space hurts you, right? Like last year was the first time the Oilers had that. So you don't want it, but like I look like right now with Vander Kane, I don't know of anybody else who's that drastically banged up that's going to require surgery. Now, maybe we'll find out when the playoffs are over, right? Like Florida last year, they had Ekblad and Montour. So, we'll see. Like Leon Draisaitl could be banged up, but Leon Draisaitl was, I think, 3rd or 4th skater out this morning for practice. And he was out there a good 10 minutes before the last guy came, and then the coach comes on, and then they blow the whistle. Because practice is scheduled to start at 11. There were players on the ice at 10:44, right? They're just wheeling around, taking shots. Draisaitl was either 3rd or 4th. I wasn't paying that close of attention, so I don't know how banged up he is, to be honest. We'll find out. Take a quick break. Mike Kelly will join us. We'll dig inside the numbers a little bit deeper in the Stanley Cup Final on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Hi, Jason Gregor for Volvo of Edmonton. This summer, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC60 with 0% finance, or save up to $6,500 on select models for qualifying loyal customers. Plus a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty with all demo vehicles. And if you're thinking hybrid, save $6,000 off all 2024 new and demo XC60 Recharge plug-in models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. 1205 101st Street Southwest, or visit volvocarsedmonton.com.
Finals fever is here, and it's all about the Oilers. We're boosting your odds and enhancing your parlays on all playoff games. Every bet on any game enters you into a draw to win seats for the 2024-25 hockey season, or 5 pairs of seats to 5 separate Oilers games for the 2024-25 season. Use promo code Gregor50 when you deposit at PlayAlberta.ca to receive a $50 free sports bet. Join the excitement and cheer on the Oilers. Let's bring it home. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit femalesuperleague.com.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Hey, Kevin, what are you doing in here?
Well, last month you were giving shit away, so I just thought I would see if you were still giving shit away in June.
Stop swearing. And yes, we are still giving shit away in June at St. Albert Dodge. Take our 2024 Durango. Was $64,500 and now just $52,900. Need a new Ram 1500 4x4 crew cab? We've got it. Originally $63,700, now just $44,900.
See, you are still giving shit away.
Kevin, stop swearing. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
Mr. Ruther does a TED Talk.
Thank you for coming today. Let's talk about it. Pressure. Everyone in this room feels pressure. But let me tell you something about pressure. I'd rather feel too much pressure than not enough. You know why? Because low pressure often means you have corroded pipes, impaired water lines, or a calcified shower head. And who needs that? I'm Mr. Ruther, and this has been my TED Talk.
For an inspirational plumber, call Mr. Ruther.
We're back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. I didn't want to read this. Hey, guys, I love the show. I love your interaction, but sometimes I can't believe the texts you get. It's going into Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, and some fan doesn't want you talking about a cup parade because it'll make Florida try harder. Unreal. From Nardog. Yes, you know what? I get some people are superstitious, but it's always like, take a step, take a breath. Do you honestly believe for a moment that is their motive? Because if that's their motivation, they've already lost. I can tell you. Florida is focused 100% on what they need to do better in their eyes in order to win that game. That's all their focus is. Nothing else. Just like the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers, you know what? Hey, they've won 2 in a row, but they're only halfway home, which is crazy. When you think about it that way, they're only halfway home to their goal. Only halfway home to doing what hasn't been done in the modern era. Very difficult to do against a really good team. That's what makes tomorrow night so intriguing. And, selfishly, I want a Game 7. Just think about the storylines of a Game 7 if it happens on Monday night. You have you have the greatest player in the NHL who is, setting records, it seems, every game. You have a Canadian market, a country that hasn't won a Stanley Cup since 1993. You have a team on the other side in Florida trying to avoid becoming the first team ever in the Stanley Cup Finals in the modern era to blow a 3-0 series lead in the NHL, in the NBA, in MLB. Like, it's a big story if it actually gets to Game 7. And I'll tell you, the NHL is probably secretly crossing their fingers that it happens. Because I'm telling you, that's a game where you're a fan of hockey. You're like, yeah, it's June 24th. But geez, like, this game is its series is 3-3. This Connor McDavid kid, I keep reading about him. Maybe I should watch it. And what about the fact that, you know what? Because you'll, trust me, Canuck fans and Flames fans will watch hoping for a train wreck for their Oilers, right? That's how you would be. It would be. I bet you would be one of the, if not the most viewed game going. And speaking of, hey, Gregor, do you know when they show the TV numbers, it just seems low. Like, well, if you're at a bar and there's 400 people there, right, and they have that one, does that count as 400? I don't think so. I think it goes on households. So, like, what about you have 30 people at somebody's house watching the game, right? Like, I wonder. I don't know if it's a good guess. I don't know how accurate it is. We'll see. Anyway, let's get to our big guest today. He knows numbers. You should get him to track down those ones. Maybe be a little bit more accurate. That would be nice. Our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Female Super League, designed to elevate female youth hockey players in their development is for 12U and 14U girls to improve their skills. Learn more at femalesuperleague.com. From the NHL Network and Sport Logic, we are joined once again by Mike Kelly. Mike, good afternoon, man. How you doing?
How are you?
Oh, I'm excellent. Hey, man, we're in the midst of a
You guys
Stanley.
got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
You probably didn't think that would be the case 4 or 5 days ago. So
Yeah,
that's good.
No, it's good. It is good. And the order. I actually said it after leading to Game 4. He's telling people last Friday, saying, "Hey, I won't be surprised at all if this series goes 6 because Edmonton has actually played well. They shouldn't be down 3-0, but they were, and that's the reality of sport. It's not always for the team who plays best. It's the team who manages to score the most goals in the case of hockey. And Edmonton obviously has scored the most lately, Mike. And a lot of the numbers for Bobrovsky and, goals saved above expected, everything else, they were off the charts through 3 games. And now they've come back down. What about the other way? Like Bobrovsky now, it's gone he was at the top of the roller coaster. Now it's like he's derailed and he's at the bottom. What do you make of such a massive swing? And do you think it continues in Game 6?
It could, right? So you're right. The first 3 games, he was 4 goals above expected. So if you tack on 4 more goals in those games, you're right. It's probably and definitely not a 2 or a 3-0 Florida lead in the series. And Skinner was below by a couple, and now he's above by a couple in his last 2. So it's not just that one guy has gone the other way. It's that they've both gone the other way that has helped flip this whole thing. Bobrovsky, what I wonder about, if you're going to wonder about anything, I think with him is that he's played a lot and he's an older guy. And there are some, measures analytically as well that look at a goalie's speed going laterally and how much they challenge shots and things like that. And those numbers are down a bit. And is that a fatigue thing? Maybe he comes out and his lights out in Game 6. There's no way to know for sure. But yeah, he was fantastic. One thing too, I heard the quotes also after the 3rd game of Edmonton saying, "Hey, we've outplayed them," or "We shouldn't be down 3-0," whatever the quote is. That's true to a point because you can look at chances and expected goals and shots and all those things, right? And you could argue, hey, Edmonton should probably be up 2-1, not down 3-0. In those 3 games, though, they also made the big mistake.
Yes,
a lot, and they got bit on it. It seemed like every time. That's not outplaying your opponent. If you outshoot them and outchance them and make the big mistake 3 times and get scored on 2 or 3 of those times. So that's where I disagreed with them a bit, but man, have they cleaned it up the last 2 games. They've looked unbelievable.
Yeah, they've looked good. Stuart Skinner in every series, the later it goes, the better he gets. And I also think, the Oilers in front of him too. You looked at, he only faced 15 and 17 shots in Game 6 and 7 against Vancouver. I give the Oilers pre-scout a lot of credit. They have, as the series has gone along in every series, they found ways to break down the opposition, whether it was, the scouting report against Shilovs. They started shooting long shots from distance through screens, and they got success from that. Their power play eventually got to Dallas. Their power play got to Florida last game. Edmonton's scouting and the players have to execute what the scouts tell them to in the pregame, but Edmonton has clearly done a good job of picking up tendencies of the opposition and then exploiting those the longer the series goes.
Yeah, you make a really good point there, right? I think it was 0 for 6, the power play against Dallas to start, 0 for 7 against Florida off the top of my head. And yeah, we know how they figured it out against Dallas. And like you said, against Florida, they're starting to go too. Some of it, I think, also a small sample. We know Edmonton's power play is 30% basically, right? Whenever. So it should work to some point. I wonder too if maybe the pre-scout's pretty good going in, but you still have to execute. You still haven't faced these teams on the ice and these players on the ice, right?
Yeah.
But whatever adjustments they made, obviously working. And there's a bit of a theme, like you said, throughout the playoffs of them kind of hitting their stride a little bit as it goes. This Game 6 to me, I think, is going to be fascinating. And I don't know how much this matters, but I feel like the first 2 games or the last 2 games that Edmonton won, they're kind of house money games, right? In a way. Now you're going back home and now you're like, whoa, we might be able to really do this thing. And Florida, that they're like, this cannot go 7 because then it's a coin flip. We have to treat this like a Game 7. I don't know if that means anything. It's just what I'm thinking, but I can't wait to see this game and to have a Game 6 in the crazy Canadian city like Edmonton that loves its hockey, that place is going to be just wild tomorrow night.
Well, Kelly Jones, it's Mike. When you crunch some of the numbers, Chris Knobloch earlier talked about expected goals in the first few games, and hey, you know what? And the expected goals did match, as he talked about Bobrovsky, that they probably should have had a little bit better luck. And you know what? The numbers don't always even out in a short series. That's a fact. I know a lot of people, they try to avoid too much reliance on the numbers because you know what? Usually in a full season, it will average out. Doesn't always average out in 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
You see Barkov is being rather quiet here, and Draisaitl is definitely being quiet by his standards. Are there any underlying numbers on either guy that makes you say, hey, I think, one looks more suited to make a strong statement in the final 2 games?
Well, I think when it comes to Barkov, like I wouldn't, I don't think you are, but I wouldn't say he hasn't really been playing up to par, because half the battle for him is just making sure Connor doesn't run wild against him, right? And like if you look at the about 30 minutes that he's been on the ice against McDavid at 5-on-5 in the series, the goals are 1-1. So at least like McDavid's doing a lot of his damage on the power play and away from Barkov, as you would expect. If he starts doing it against Barkov, I mean, things really get topsy-turvy. So I think that's part of it for him. And yeah, Draisaitl, the numbers aren't quite what you're used to seeing if you want to look at things like possession time and chance creation and those kind of things. I do wonder if there's something ailing him to some degree, although like it makes me think of a couple of years ago when they went to the conference final and he was kind of playing on one leg and it seemed like he was even better.
Yeah.
So he can play through stuff, but he's just, there's something a little off there. I'm not quite sure what it is. Those are 2 great guys that you bring up, though, because like, what if one of those guys puts up a 2 or 3 point night and busts out a little bit in game 6? That's probably going to be the difference in the game.
Yeah. Like, I guess when I look at Barkov, it's more like his overall play. It's not bad by any stretch, but he's still played like more than half of his time away from McDavid. And like, there's not a ton of production from him. Like, if you're a number 1 center, to me, it can't just be, well, in his 26 minutes against McDavid, he doesn't get scored on very much. So as you just said, McDavid's crushing the rest of the Panthers. Barkov isn't crushing the rest of the Oilers.
Yep. And the first 3 games, it was a pretty hard matchup, obviously, with the 2 in Florida.
Yeah.
They get to Edmonton in game 4, it wasn't much at all. And even in game 5 in Florida, it wasn't as much as we've seen. So, you're right. I mean, I think if you're Barkov in a perfect world, you're averaging like a point a game and you're also shutting down the other best players in the world. And that's really good. Right. So, I think you're right. There's probably a bit more there. Like they've tried to get Carter Verhaeghe going by moving him lines and now moving him again. And like, to me, he's more of kind of a guy that could be an X factor offensive game breaker in a game like this coming up. Because of his speed and his tenacity on the puck and what he can do in the offensive zone. And he's been kind of quiet. So there's a couple guys on each side that have the ability and the potential to kind of bust out here and be a difference maker. And I guess we'll just see if one of them can do it.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I asked the question is I thought Matthew Tkachuk had been fairly quiet up until he scored the goal. And once he scored the goal, Mike, it was all of a sudden like the anvil got dropped off his shoulders and he was an impact in the rest of the game.
Yeah. I mean, like his ability to create offense from below the goal line as a playmaker, like I still maintain, I think he's an elite playmaker in the league. Like I put him not at the top, but like with a lot of top guys. And because of everything else, I don't think he probably gets enough credit for that. And you're right. He was kind of quiet. He had a great game 5. Wasn't enough in the end. But then they almost came back and took that one to overtime. So, a lot of impact players on both sides, and it's hard to know what to expect in this game 6. Like one thing I thought in game 5, I'm like, this kind of reminds me of 2022 Cup final, Colorado-Tampa. Colorado had a chance to close out a game 5 at home, and I just know from talking to some of those guys after they won, talking about all the families are kind of here, the city's expecting it. It's almost like it's predetermined that like the party's happening tonight, and that can have an effect on players. And I don't know that that's the case with Florida, but we all heard about their travel all the way to Edmonton and then back. And there's a lot of distractions that happen when you're a game away from winning a Stanley Cup. And I know from talking to guys in the past, like it can have an impact on how you play that next game. Maybe there's some of that, but now it's back in Edmonton for Game 6. Florida's whiffed on 2 chances to do it, and you got to think you're getting their best game tomorrow night.
Well, yeah, if you don't, then it's definitely going to 7. And and even if they give their best game, it might not be enough. Like Edmonton, I was surprised, Mike, when the series began, how little respect Edmonton had from a lot of other people. I kept it. Well, they had a way easier path, and I'm like, what? Tampa Bay and the Rangers were not good 5-on-5 teams all year long. They weren't. They were. Tampa was -18, and the Rangers were +2. Right? Like Vancouver was +50. The Stars were +30. The Kings were +21. And I was kind of surprised by that there was just, Flores is juggernaut. They've been there before. I get that they're good, but and then there's always the wild card, Mike, which we saw last game. Connor McDavid does things that players can't do, and he can still do it a minute 52 into a shift.
I know. And you watch them every night, and you have for years, so you know this better than me, but like I feel like there's nights over the years and in the regular season, like Connor can put up 3 points, even 4 points, and you're like, I don't know that he had that great of a game. Like maybe a couple defensive miscues and kind of evens out, whatever. Or maybe we just expect too much from him. I don't know. But like the last couple of games, he has dominated. He has dominated every shift, it seems, where it's like he's playing one game and everyone else is playing some variation of it, but it's not quite the same. It's crazy how good he's been. And if that's the gear he's going to be playing at, in Game 6 and potentially Game 7, maybe the rest of it doesn't kind of matter. I'll say from talking to some people throughout the course of these playoffs, I know one thing that some people had mentioned about the paths is you talked about, Tampa and New York not being great 5-on-5, and you're right. They also have Vasilevsky and Shesterkin. And then, some people would point to Edmonton, they faced Talbot, and then they faced Shelovs, and then they faced Ottinger.
Yeah, that's fair.
A good but not great goalie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you got Bobrovsky, and the people saying that, I'm sure, were patting themselves on the back the first 3 games. But, has Edmonton figured Florida out kind of enough to play them even or a little better? Or, are we seeing a bit of an aberration in a small sample, maybe the same way we saw in the first 3? I don't know, but it's teeing up a good Game 6.
What's your pick for Game 6, Mike?
I think Edmonton does it. I think they do it. I think they're 4-7. After the 8-1 game, I'm sitting there and I'm like, no one's going to talk about this, and no one should, because who cares? But Stuart Skinner was really good in that game. It could have been 8-3, maybe even 8-4.
Yes, totally agree.
And it doesn't matter; they still win. But I'm like, man, if Skinner can piece that game together a couple more times, we might be in for something here. And he played really well again. He to me is always the X factor, because Edmonton, when he's average or anything better, but even average, they won in the regular season 86% of their games, which is the second highest win rate of any team when they get average or better goaltending.
Yeah.
Be average, you're not going to lose many games because of how good Edmonton is everywhere else. And he's been better than that the last 2. So if he's that again, it's going to be hard for Florida.
Yeah. Mike, can't wait, man. The building will be crazy. The anticipation will be crazy. Every shift is fun when it gets to elimination games like this. Enjoy it as always. Appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, buddy. You too. And I'm happy for you guys. You get to enjoy all this. Now we got a series in a great place like Edmonton too, for all the fans there. So have fun tomorrow night.
You betcha. That is Mike Kelly from the NHL Network and Sport Logic, and he is bang on. Tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun for people all day long. Just the excitement, the nervous excitement, just pure excitement. It'll be great. That's what it's for, man. This is why you're a sports fan for a long time. And I always tell people, don't take it for granted, because there's no guarantee your team will get back. It's 18 years since they've been in a cup final. Now, I know Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are on the team, so my odds would say, hey, maybe it won't be 18 again. But you never know. Look at Crosby. They went back-to-back years, and then it was another 7 years till they got back. Right? It's hard to win. So enjoy it wherever you're watching it tomorrow. Should be a lot of fun. That's our big guest of the day here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We'll take a quick break. We got lots and lots of text to get to. We'll hear some thoughts and comments as the players get amped up. A real interesting one about Matthias Ekholm and Stuart Skinner. Of course, if you don't know, Matthias Ekholm, when he was traded here to Edmonton, they moved last summer. His wife, they were expecting their 3rd child. and had their third child right here in Edmonton and reside here now year round. They very much enjoy it. They're from northern Sweden where they're used to snow, so it's not a problem. But he shared a cute story about his young 6-year-old son playing soccer. And we'll get to that and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Let's do this, Edmonton.
Off the goal line. Rebounded David fires the doors. And there will be a game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final.
This is Sports 1440.
At McDonald's, we know summer can go by quickly, so make the most of all the park hangs, beach days, sunsets, and festivals. Whew. With a $2 plus tax sundae or snack-size milkshake, or an app-exclusive $1 plus tax soft-serve cone. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada, prices exclude delivery. App download and registration required.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions assembled.
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Ennio and Jason are friends.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, buddy? Except when they talk hockey.
Edmonton had all those first overall picks, and they still can't win.
Yeah, but we still beat you. Battle of Alberta champs, baby.
But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wilhauk beef jerky.
It might be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wilhauk beef jerky today in Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001. When it comes to your heavy haul trailers, don't settle for a patch job that will fall apart after a hard day's work. Bring your unit to AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. They'll solve the problem once and for all, keeping you working with limited interruptions. For 25 years, their experts have been providing highway and off-road custom trailers for mining, oil and gas construction, and renewable industries. They're your industry leader in engineered heavy haul trailer frame repairs, retrofits, rebuilds, and custom trailer fabrication. Learn more at accusteel.ca.
Hey, Eddie Steele here. If you know me, you know I'm motivated. And what motivates me? Winning? Been there, done that. What motivates me is the smell of fresh baked goodness, the kind you find at Bonton Bakery. As soon as you walk into Bonton, you're greeted with a big smile, a warm welcome, and the aroma. So good. The showcase of their baked goods always means trouble for me, not just because of the selection, but the excellent fresh ingredients. That's Bonton Bakery, 8720 149th Street, open 9 to 5, Tuesday to Saturday.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Centre's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Wendy's Small Frosty is the ultimate summer refreshment. And not because it's cool and creamy and made with fresh Canadian dairy. It's also refreshingly cheap. Just 99 cents until July 14th. It's a treat for you and your wallet. Taxes extra at participating Wendy's.
What's feeling about instead? I just need some place where I can lay my head. And mister, can you tell me where a man might find a bed? He just grinned and shook my hand.
Welcome back Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, rolling through a lovely Tuesday afternoon. You know it's big time now, Cons, as you have was it Mama Stanley Cup coming around. She was just in the Sports 1442. I was actually surprised when she told me it only takes her 20 minutes to put her face paint on and get that hold of that. Now she says she's been doing it a long time now, so she has it down to an art. I guess the banjo guys is a lot more intricate because it's lots of different colors, where hers is just, she said it's just one color, so it's a little bit easier to put on. So yeah, it's commitment. So she'll be at Game 6 in the Moss Pit with Moss Pit has about, I think it's 5,000 give or take that they'll be partaking there. So I couldn't imagine what time the lineup will start tomorrow for the Moss Pit. Like, I bet you there'll be people lined up at noon. I won't be surprised.
Absolutely. I mean, that's where you want to be. Duck out of work a little early on Friday if you can. Maybe part-time job. You just got to call in sick. Not that I'm saying you should be doing that, but it's going to be unbelievable down there. It's going to be a great atmosphere. You know, Mama Stanley's going to be there. She said 15,000 selfies probably in the last little month here. So everyone wants to get their picture with Mama Stanley. It makes sense.
Wow. 15,000. Oh, Strutty would die. Start anti-selfie. Well, I'll be honest, I don't take a lot of selfies either. So, but I've taken a few just because I know how to do it. But yeah. Lots of text flying in our EWEL inbox, 833-401-1440. Your partner in power, EWEL.ca. Hey guys, what's your assessment of Draisaitl? Is going to be healthy for Game 6? He's still not playing at his peak level, Jag. Well, he's healthy enough to play. Like I said earlier, he can't. If he was banged up, he wouldn't be skating. He was third, maybe fourth guy on the ice tonight, this morning, for practice. Practice officially, you can't be late. It starts at 11. But players were on the ice at, like, I think the first guy stepped on the ice around 10:42, 10:43. And Draisaitl was like third or fourth. So, he's out there extensive time. He was working on some shooting. I noticed earlier on, just coming out of the corner, just different shot selection. I think he probably has something nagging, like a lot of guys, but nothing like it was in 2022. And I do think even for an elite player, because all you got to do is the best example is look at Tkachuk up until he scored the goal in Game 5. Did you really notice him in the series making a big impact? No. His line had been outscored 5-0 in the first 4 games of the series at 5-on-5. It wasn't good. But he scored a goal, and then all of a sudden, you really notice Tkachuk. And he was leading their team in points heading into the Stanley Cup final. Like, confidence is the head. And I wonder if even one of the best playoff performers in NHL history, Leon Draisaitl, has the 4th highest points per game, if he might be fighting a little bit of the confidence thing right now. Hey, guys, do you think if you can find a trade partner for Dubois, can you find one for Jack Campbell? If his name is on the cup, his name won't be on the cup. He didn't. How many games? He hasn't played in Edmonton. He didn't play 40 games. Hasn't played in the playoffs. His name wouldn't be on the Stanley Cup. So in order to guarantee 100% your name goes on the cup, you have to play 40 games in the regular season for the team or 1 game in the Stanley Cup final. That guarantees you your name in the cup. Now, you can ask as an organization for exemptions to, like Peter Pawkinson waved, got his dad's name on it. Eventually they took it off. So, there are things you could do. People have asked about Sam Gagner. He's been around the whole time. He might be. But, like, if you look at the orders, Sam Carrick played in the final. He's on it. Desharnais played in the final. He's on it. Plus, he played 40 games. Then there's the other 18 skaters and the 2 goalies, right? So there's 22 right there. Evander Kane makes it 23. And then after that, maybe Sam Gagner. Right? Like, Troy Stetcher was acquired at the deadline, played a few games down the stretch, didn't play in the postseason. I don't think his name would be on it. Now, he could get a ring. That's 2 different things, right? The ring is from the organization themselves. And I would be stunned if Stetcher didn't get one. Right? Gagner's obviously going to get one. who's on the roster. So yeah, he would get one. But name on the cup is different. They don't. The NHL kind of cracks down on names on the cup. So there'd have to be a viable reason as to why they would grant the exemption for a guy. Because usually, if it's a guy who had been on a team for many years and then got hurt, right at like game 38 and didn't play the 40 games and like blew his knee out, I've seen those type of exemptions happen. So we'll see. Hey, guys, my biggest pet peeve about the Oilers is they never send their injured guys to surgery. It's been 3 years straight. The nurse has been injured in the playoffs, and we don't even replace him and make him get it fixed. Next year, I would send him for surgery and use all that cap space to do whatever they need. The Vegas solution, Mike in the park. Now, Mike, I want you to think, first of all, you don't just send, you're acting like surgery has no negative possibilities, which is false. A, you're saying you don't get to control your body. We'll tell you that you need surgery. Come on, man. It's not how it works. They clearly aren't banged up enough. Leon Draisaitl, he was clearly hurt. He had a high ankle sprain. What's he supposed to do? Well, let's wait and have surgery. Like, the Vegas solution is so overplayed, right? So Mark Stone gets injured 1 year. They're in first place. Then he goes on LTIR. Then he comes back with 8 games left in the season. They're in 9th place. They missed the playoff. There's no LTR benefit because he had to come back for the last, I think it was 9 games, maybe even 10 of the regular season. So yes, last year he gets injured again. He has a surgery. Now, he needed the surgery. What happened was they were able to not rush him back from the surgery. It's not that he faked an injury. He needed the injury. And then he was probably healthy enough to play in the final 10 days. But the way the rules is, why rush him back? They didn't do it. This year, what happened? Guy got hurt. They acquired other players. They basically said, well, Jonathan Marchessault, now you're done next year because we acquired Hurdle. So I'm not sold it was that great of a decision, to be honest. And what did that get them? A first-round exit. So I'm not going to, you can't force players to have surgery that they don't need. You just can't do it. So don't even think about it. It's selfish. And it really, you're treating the person like a pure commodity. And it's like, well, it benefits me as a fan because I think we have more cap space. You got to think about the well-being of an athlete. If they don't need surgery, you don't do it because there's always complications, right? No, sadly, we can go through lots of people that have had complications from surgeries and are never the same. So players will, it's like Connor McDavid. He didn't have surgery. Remember when he crashed into the goalpost? They did a whole documentary on his recovery without surgery. If you can avoid it, they always try to avoid it. And nurse came back, and by the way, he didn't miss any time, man. He didn't need surgery. Like, I'm sorry, but it's a terrible comparison. Terrible. Hey, guys, the backup goalie get his name in the cup, even though he hasn't played 40 games. Well, in the case of Pickard, he's played in the playoffs. He'll get his name in the cup, right? He's been their backup goalie the majority of the season, and he dressed, like that's the exemption. He dressed for how many games? So no, the backup goalie's always on because even if he doesn't play 40, he played 2 games in the playoffs. He dressed for all the games. So goalies are a little bit different, but yes, without question, they're going to get it. So. Hey guys, are they allowed to put Ben Stelter's name in the cup if we get it? No. And they wouldn't. Ben Stelter's, it's a great part of the organization, great fanfare. It's awesome, but no, it's not wouldn't be an option. Hey guys, does anybody crunch the numbers on how much extra revenue the Oilers have brought in with this maximum Stanley Cup run from Jerry? It's a really good question, man. I have seen numbers crunch that say for every playoff game now, and not every playoff game is equal because ask anybody who's a season ticket holder, how much were your tickets in round 1? How much were your tickets in round 2? How much were they in round 3? And now how much were they in round 4? Right? Like it's a significant difference. So I thought in round 1, if my memory's correct, there was something like $3 million a game, right? If not more. So I couldn't even imagine, like if it's $3 million in round 1, and I look at what the increase from what the ticket cost was in round 1 to what it is now, face value, not talking secondary market. I'm just talking face value. It's like 3 times more, maybe more. So if it's 3, now you're talking it's 9 mil a game. So yeah, it would be a significant amount. Now, I do know the NHL does get a portion of the Stanley Cup final. Some of it goes into the group fund, right? So, and remember, like there is now the Oilers will obviously get to pocket lots of that, but there is still some revenue sharing in the NHL. So it's not 100%, but yeah, the organization will be doing just fine. They're not missing any meals at all. Hey guys, any word on Kane? Is he going tomorrow from J-Dog? J-Dog, I do not think so. I watched the whole practice today. Kane was on a line with Gagne and Carrick the entire time. He didn't rotate in once for Ryan McLeod or Perry, which is where like they're not going to switch the third line. There's no chance. And I don't see him coming back in, and I don't see them automatically bumping Fogle down. He was in a blue jersey. The top 6 guys were all in white jerseys. So my inkling suggests he is not going to be playing in Game 6. I don't see it. Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Stop in right now if you want to try the cookies and cream booster ball. Yummy little bundle of almonds, that's almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies all mixed into one glorious tasting booster ball. Download the Booster Reward app and you can order yours today.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Move off the ice today in the NHL. The Pittsburgh Penguins re-signing goaltender Alex Nedeljkovic to a 2-year contract that runs through 2026. It'll carry an AAV of $2.5 million from the association. The Los Angeles Lakers have agreed on a 4-year contract with J.J. Redick to make him the team's next head coach. According to multiple reports, he's a former ESPN analyst who played 15 years in the league. He met with Vice President and GM Rob Pelinka and owner Jeannie Buss over the weekend, and reportedly was offered the job this morning. In the NFL, the New England Patriots have agreed to a 4-year, $36 million contract extension with Ramondre Stevenson. The deal includes $17 million guaranteed. At $9 million per year, he becomes the 7th highest paid back in the NFL. Major League Baseball today, a couple afternoon games going on. Orioles beating up on the Yankees. It's 8-1 in the top of the 3rd. Runners right now on 1st and 2nd. Heading into the 7th, the Athletics trail the Royals 2-0, and the Dodgers have a 5-2 lead over the Rockies. Bottom of 7 earlier today. Diamondbacks knocked off the Nationals 5-2. Mariners fell to the Guardians 6-3. And it was the Rays over the Twins 7-6. Later tonight, Giants, Cardinals, and Brewers, Padres. Copa America gets going tonight with Canada taking on Argentina. That one starts at 6 o'clock. 2024, my apologies. Serbia and Slovenia tying at 1 apiece, as does England and Denmark. They also had Italy falling to Spain 1-0. And in the WNBA, earlier today, the Sky knocked off the Wings 83-72. Angel Reese, 16 points, 18 boards in the win. Later tonight, Liberty taking on the Sparks. Edmonton Riverhawks continue their road trip tonight out in Kelowna. That one gets going just after 8 o'clock. And the Stingers in town, they're hosting the Ottawa Blackjacks down at the Hive. Tip-off in that one set for 7 o'clock. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Oilers Nation's Tyler Yaremchuk and Colin Livingston in the Cantork Racing Report. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
From bench to bench, sport to sport, Elite Promotional Marketing will help take your teamwear to the next level with a wide selection of uniforms, apparel, and promotional products. So when you want your team to look elite, head to ElitePromoMarketing.com.
Get ready, Oilers fans. During the finals, make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the finals with 10+ odds boosts on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win amazing prizes like season seats for the 2024-25 season or 5 pairs of seats to 5 separate Oilers games. Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca.
Welcome back.
And cheer on the Oilers. Let's bring it home. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hi, Jason Gregor for Volvo of Edmonton. This summer, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC60 with 0% finance, or save up to $6,500 on select models for qualifying loyal customers. Plus a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty with all demo vehicles. And if you're thinking hybrid, save $6,000 off all 2024 new and demo XC60 Recharge plug-in models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. 1205 101st Street Southwest or visit volvocarsedmonton.com.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
0% for 60 months. I'm not kidding. Where? Well, it's GMC Buick, and it's GMC's Adventure Calls event. Pick out a new 2024 Sierra with finance rates as low as 0% for up to 60 months. If you're a Costco member, you get another $1,200 off purchase price on any 2024 in-stock Sierra. We're talking half tons, 3/4 tons, even 1 tons. If you'd rather an SUV, we've got low lease payments and an awesome selection on GMC Terrain. So get in today and get your adventure on. Wolf, GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community. But they couldn't have done it without building their employees from the ground up. Many of GS Construction's employees started without any industry experience at all. But because of such programs such as GS's Next Person Up, they've gone on to become valued members of the team. If you want to join the team as a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, clean hand, operator, top man, or woman, or water and sewer foreman, visit GS Construction.
Feel that more, and that's what teams need.
We are rolling through a lovely Thursday afternoon. Once again, it's another eve of a Stanley Cup final game. For Oiler fans, it is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. You know what Thursday means? Ooh, how about this? A grand a day for the next 20 years. Not bad at all. The grand a day for life, but it's really 20 years, which is $7.2 million. So not bad at all. You can get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. That's the daily grand game. And also Lotto Max, 18 million tomorrow night. So get your tickets, playalberta.ca. The Oilers also, if you're feeling inclined, you can use the promo code Gregor50. And that'll get you a free $50 wager with a minimum $5 purchase. And the Oilers, the favorite, all of a sudden, in the betting line for now they're at home. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a heck of a game. I understand all the excitement. Everybody just thinks that they're for sure going to win, but I don't know. I get why you want to believe that. You're a fan, you should believe that. But this is going to be a tough game. Make no mistake about it. The longer the series goes, it's harder to win for any team. And the Oilers, though, they have momentum. They have confidence. And, man, if they get that first goal again, I think it is going to be huge for them. McDavid and Skinner talked about it. We're going to get to McDavid and Skinner. We're also going to hear from Oscar Klefbom. Chris Knobloch, the update on Evander Kane was pretty vague, but just based on everything I saw today at practice, I don't think there'll be a lineup change for the Oilers. We will see some lineup changes for the Panthers, though. Cousins is coming in, so another agitator for them. He'll take out Okposo. You will also have them swapping their top six wingers again. Verhaeghe's going to go up to the Barkov line. Rodrigue's going to go and play with Bennett and Tkachuk. And I think that's, Rodrigue is going very well. Tkachuk looked like he woke up, so that's what they'll do. And, maybe they just think that change will help them. The other change, which we did see after the Oilers scored shorthanded, was Brandon Montour got taken off the first power play unit. Oliver Ekman-Larsson went on it. Now, Ekman-Larsson was a first unit power play guy for many years. Hasn't been that in Florida, and really wasn't that with Quinn Hughes in Vancouver. But he's back there, and I don't think it's just because of one pass that got deflected, and then Brown outraced Barkov and took the breakaway goal home for the 1-0 lead. I think it has to do with the fact that they've scored one power play goal in the playoffs in this series. They've given up 2 shorties, so they're -1. I think it has more to do with the overall lack of production from their power play as to why they made that change. So they're tweaking their lineup. The Oilers likely going status quo, which I don't think is a surprise to anybody who has been watching the series. It's good. We got a lot more texts coming in. 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, what are the rules? I'm curious about LTIR. What is the benefit? Well, the benefit, really the only benefit of LTIR is if a player gets injured during the season and does not return until the postseason. But if you put a guy on LTIR on game 2 and he comes back in game 60, yeah, you've had some cap space that you could use during games 3 to game 59. However, then those guys got to be off the cap in order to bring back the other player. The way it only really benefits you is if the player's not playing for the remainder of the regular season. And in lots of cases, guys are put on LTIR that never play again. They're not healthy enough for the playoffs, right? Like we've seen Stone do it. And so I think now some people think it's like a regular occurrence. The guy has been injured and he's injury prone. That's just the truth. So yeah, you might think it's a benefit to do it, but like I said, it did not benefit Vegas at all. They were playing poorly. Then he got injured. They kept playing poorly. And then they had to give up more assets because they had the cap space. And they're like, well, we're an organization that goes for it. So they gave up more assets, took on more money, and still lost in the first round and got older in the process. So honestly, they're probably going to lose Jonathan Marchessault this summer. So I don't for Thomas Hertl. And man, I watch a lot of San Jose games. Like Thomas Hertl's big, strong player, but he ain't very quick. And as the game gets quicker, I'm telling you, I don't think that contract is going to age very well at all. So I look at Vegas, and I don't see how they're going to be able to resign Jonathan Marchessault and Chandler Stevenson, or either one of them. Alex Martinez definitely isn't coming back, right? They basically replaced him with Noah Hannafin. Good move. right? And then they signed Hannafin to an extension, $7.35 million, big number. So, they'll always be looking to benefit. But you got to remember, like Vegas, after their like great start, Vegas was like the 20th place team for the last 70 games of the year. Like they weren't very good at all. Now, they had some injuries, sure. Mark Stone, but not a ton of other ones. They're just, I'm not sure how quick they are, right? Like they got Carrier, Mantha, Marchessault, Stevenson, all as UFAs, and Michael Amadeo. And on top of that, they got a lot of their forwards signed. But like, I'm not sold that Vegas is just going to jump right back in. Like they have a first rounder, then they have a sixth rounder. They don't have a first in 25. They don't have a first in 26. So they'll keep trying to, to trade and spend. And it worked. They won. But now the Oilers have a lot of experience too. They've actually played more playoff games in Vegas the last 3 years. So that advantage is out the window. Whether or not the Oilers win game 6 or not, like when you get this deep in the playoffs, I don't think winning the cup or losing it is going to give Edmonton a significant, bigger experience advantage. It'll give them a different experience, no question. Obviously, the difference between winning the cup and losing the cup, I think we all know. But as far as when next season comes around, no one's going to look and say, well, hey, the Oilers, like they'll have lots of playoff experience. Right? The only team that has played more playoff games than them in the last 3 years is Florida. And that's 2. That's it. So they'll be good. Hey, guys, do you think the Panthers bring in Cousins and tell him to run or injure McDavid? Does that happen from Colby? Well, I'd be very surprised how often Paul Maurice is going to put his fourth line on the ice against McDavid, number one. Then number 2, to just, quote, run Connor McDavid. Well, first of all, you got to catch him. Guy's got his head on a swivel all the time. I don't think that happens. Number 1. B, unless you're like, hey, we just want you to do a massive cheap shot on the best player in the game. Paul Maurice doesn't coach that way. He would never do it. So I do not think that would happen. Hey, Gregor, you should have a poll for Oilers fans. Would you rather win the 50-50 and lose the game or win the game and lose the 50-50? Well, Darren, I can answer the question. I don't even need a poll. Of course, they're going to say win the game. First of all, your odds of winning the 50-50 are incredibly low. Only one of them could win. So I would, they can all enjoy in winning the game. Only one of them can enjoy winning the 50-50. So. Hey, Greggs, what do you think Holloway and Broberg's contracts will look like next season? And fill me in on what their arbitration right. Well, neither one has arb rights. So they just have qualifying offers. Like, and I've said this many times, this is the time where it's business and nothing personal. So Dylan Holloway will sign his offer sheet because why wouldn't he? Now, you can sign the offer sheet. His contract is $925. He's not like he wasn't a regular in the NHL this year. He's done very well in the postseason. And so he'll have an opportunity to perform. Now, he might sign a 2-year deal at a lower AAV, but if you're Dylan Holloway, you're probably just going to take a 1-year deal because then you have arbitration rights. But also, you don't want to sign a 2-year deal because there's a pretty good chance you could be a top 6 forward on the Edmonton Oilers regular season next year. You have a chance to score 20 goals. Right? Heck, even if you score 18 goals. You score 18 goals in the NHL, that's you're getting much more than $1 million, right? So I don't think he's going to sign. And Broberg, same thing. I know some people said, "Hey, Gregor, what if you sign? If you believe that Broberg's a top 4, why not just sign him for $4 million right now?" And it's a fair question. The organization to do that would have to find the cap space to do it. And I can understand the business rationale to do it. And it might be intriguing for a guy like Philip Broberg, who's never, if somebody came to you and says, hey, we'll give you 6 years at $4 million, would you sign it right now? He might. That's $24 million, man. That's life altering. It's not chump change. $4 million. He might. He probably would consider it, right? It's different than a guy who's been a full-time NHLer, and there's a little bit of risk there. But if what you see in the playoffs as an organization, you believe that Broberg is everything, like his skating ability isn't just going to erode. Right? I think he's only just going to get stronger, right? Fill out a little bit more. I heard today Matthias Ekholm said the biggest difference he's seen in Broberg's game is when he came in against Dallas, he commanded the puck. Because he's never seen that before. He was kind of, in his words, these aren't mine, these are Ekholm's words, Broberg was a little timid, which is understandable, right? You're in the league, you're not really certain who you are, you just don't want to make a mistake. But he went back to the minors, man, and his confidence, and they're like, you can play in this game. So when you get in there, you just play. And that's what he did. So it would probably turn out to be a really good value contract, but then the Oilers are going to have to get rid of someone else, and they might do it. So he's an intriguing one for me. You could make the argument to try to convince him to do it. And he might take it because that's $24 million. Now, he might bet on himself, which you can never, I can't get mad at a player who wants to, you can't force someone to sign a long-term deal. You can, like, what if he says, well, I'll do it for 5? And now you need 5. Like, there's still a cap situation, right? So Broberg is a little more interesting, but either one, I don't see them being, difficult because they don't have any arbitration rights. So very, I think quite easy to do it. So 833-401-1440. Take a quick break. We'll come back. Yaremchuk will join us. We'll talk some matchups, how different what we'll see. And really, honestly, as this series has gone on, the matchup game has kind of gone by the wayside. Even Florida had home ice advantage in Game 5. You didn't see Barkov a ton. Now, you know what the difference was? McDavid played almost 25 minutes in that game because he only played 17 in Game 4. And as I outlined yesterday, when he made that ridiculous play through the Panthers defenders, that was 1 minute and 52 seconds into a shift. Technically, it was a 2 minute and 22 second shift, but the first 30 seconds occurred before the Okposo penalty, and then there was a TV timeout. So, you're resting. So I don't really count that. Technically, it was on the ice straight in the game action for 2:22, but there's a TV timeout in between. So I just take the 152 of actual after the timeout. Here you go. Still at 152 to able to go by all the players like that, that's impressive. And, Barkov just can't play that many minutes at that. Well, I don't know if anybody else can as a forward. Like McDavid, as great as he is as a player, I think we overlook his conditioning and just how elite it is. And it happened. Like, there's times in the regular season, he'll take like a 3.5 minute shift coming off a power play. Now they're in the zone the whole time, and you still see him blow by guys. It's impressive, man. Like, his tank is deep and can run longer than most other players. Like, I'm trying to remember who it was who said, man, when I played with McDavid, like, I couldn't believe he goes, like, I'll go hard. He can still go hard at 45 seconds. And most other guys, they start to trail off at 30. It's a big advantage. Let's get a quick break. We'll come back. Yaremchuk on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
And I'm Zach Hyman.
And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes
or having my goals disallowed,
we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Guys used to call me a plumber.
And now they call you an AC repairman.
Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Picture a chill summer moment. Now, add a McFlurry. Nice, right? Now add the new Strawberry Cheesecake McFlurry with real strawberry pieces and cheesecake-flavored cookie dough. Super chill. Available for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
What's cracking at Cattail? Their men's league. Play 18 holes for 18 weeks on Tuesdays from 2 to 6 p.m. Then complete the day and head to Out of Bounds, recently ranked one of Canada's top 10 in fine dining restaurants. For details, visit cattailcrossing.ca.
Black Friday pricing is back at the Brick. Check out the latest deals in every department, as well as hot new items just in time for summer. This Friday, June 21st, from 5 p.m. to midnight only. Shop incredible 7-hour door crasher deals, like 65% off sofas when you buy the matching love seater chair, and 50% off mattresses $9.99 or more. Take advantage of these fabulous deals today, because Black Friday pricing won't last forever. Some exclusions apply. The Brick, saving you more.
Warmer, brighter days can make you crave something to sip. Booster Juice is busting out booster mixers, the summer fixers. Cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. The Mango Teaser, Berry Teaser, Almighty Acai, Game Set Matcha, and Oranges and Cream. Try all 5 and brighten your day a sip at a time. And try the Cookies and Cream Booster Ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Hey Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit EdmontonKubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key.
Nathan's here with all the ice on in the booth. At the gate outside, when they pull up, they give me loose. Yeah, jump out, boys. That's Nike boys hopping our coast. Way too big when we pull up, give me the loot. Was off the Remy, had up at post. Had to hit my old town to duck the news. 2-4-hour lockdown, we made no moves. Now it's 4 a.m. and I'm back up popping with the crew. I just landed in, Chase B mixes pop like John.
328. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Oh, man, Oilers fans are passionate. This is amazing. So we got Mark had sent us a text to the show. Because obviously you have to plan ahead just in case. I know there's some people that have purchased tickets already for Game 7, and obviously if there's no Game 7, then you don't have to pay for it. And trying to get flights, whatever. And so if any of you are those people, there's a group of people from Edmonton that have chartered a flight that it fits 95 and they have about 40 seats left. If you're somebody who is interested in going and want to go, it's about depending anywhere from 21 to 2,500 for the seat, which is actually, it's not that bad of a deal. I looked online because if there is a Game 7, then we'll be going. And my goodness, the milk run flights, like there's very few direct flights. Well, there's no direct flights, but even one stop, like it's brutal right now. So might have to leave on Saturday just to do it. But if you're interested in that, send me a text and I can send you Mark's information if you were planning on going and are looking for a flight. Not bad. It would leave Sunday, come back Tuesday in case you're curious. So there you have it. Let's get to the oil report now, brought to you by Volvo Cars, Edmonton.com. Canada's #1 Volvo dealership. Why? Because they are 13-time Excellence Award winner in sales and service. Find out now. Go get a vehicle. XC60s, XC90s. Highly recommend both at Volvo Cars, Edmonton.com. Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Face-Off joins us. Ty, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Greg's. I'm in like a totally different setup too. I'm always joining you from different sort of studios. It's fun.
Yeah, where are you today? You got the Edmonton
office
Stingers
downtown.
shirt. Oh, I like it. Stingers in action tonight, taking on Ottawa for any fans who are needing maybe a stress relief to take a few hours to not look at every possible angle of the Oilers game. So, because I'm sure it is funny that like everywhere you go now, it's almost impossible. Someone's like, "Hey, how you doing?" So, what do you think's going to happen? Like that's literally what happens right after they say hello.
Yeah. Tonight's actually, it's going to be my first time ever going to a Stingers game. I don't know how I've missed it for this long, but I got my tickets secured. It's my off night activity. I'm taking my fiance, nice little date night, going to go watch some Stingers basketball.
Buddy, it's actually a really good atmosphere there.
That's all I've been hearing. Yeah.
And they got a good team, and you will. I know you will love the beer prices. They are very good, and the food. Buddy, you can get like chicken fingers for $5.
Damn, that's really good.
Price. Yeah, and a beer. You can get a beer and chicken fingers that's $10. You're like, what is happening? So yeah, it's a very different price point than maybe when you go to your Oiler games. The Oilers doesn't look like there'll be any lineup changes, but the Panthers are going to have a few. They're going to bring in Nick Cousins for Okposo. They're going to switch for Hagee and Rodriguez again, and then OEL will stay on the first unit power play according to a head coach Paul Maurice. Like Cousins for Okposo, it's some new like I actually thought Ryan Lomberg, came in as a guy and was definitely more noticeable than Steven Lorenz was.
Yeah, I thought that was an okay change. I also saw the one move they're making is putting, like you said, OEL on the power play instead of Montour. And one of the plays that I feel like didn't get enough attention last game, and I think when they showed Paul Maurice on the broadcast, his face was red as a beet. But that pass that Connor Brown picked off, that Montour made, that's about as bad of a read and pass as you can make with the man advantage. Like if you're going to pass it through the middle of the ice like that, never mind the middle of the ice, trying to go board to board, fully east to west, you need to be pretty darn sure that thing's not getting picked off, and you better be fully prepared to get on your horse and go back and get it. And Montour did neither of those things, and I thought OEL had a good game. So that one does make some sense because the Panthers, I mean, we can talk about keys to victory for the Oilers. Panthers need to get their special teams figured out.
Well, I don't I look at their power play, and you're right, because not only are they not scoring, they're not really like they haven't generated a lot of great looks, and then they're giving up goals against in the last two. Like it's funny how the first power plays of the game both went to the Panthers, but the first goal went to the Oilers on both occasions. Like that is such a monumental swing of momentum.
I know, and I saw, of course, there's always trolls and people saying dumb stuff online, but people are like, oh, look, the Oilers needed 2 power play goals to come and beat the Panthers. Like refs had to give it. The Oilers have been shorthanded again, like just as much. They've just been more opportunistic, and I really don't get this sort of logic that like being good on the special teams is some stroke of luck or it discounts what you are as a team. Like they exist for a reason. They are a part of the game, and taking advantage of those areas is absolutely crucial. So anyone trying to knock the Oilers for just being good on their special teams the last couple of games, like I don't know what to tell you. I think you're living in denial a little bit. Yeah.
Well, anybody who suggests special teams don't matter doesn't understand how hockey works. Like you don't get bonus points if it's a 5-on-5 or a 4-on-4 goal. It's not, that one's worth 1.5, whereas a power play goal is only 1. Like I'm like, you're exposing yourself for lack of knowledge on the game if you try to downplay special teams. And the truth is, you look at all the teams who win, most of them either have a dominant power play or a dominant penalty kill, and in a lot of cases, both. That's just how it goes because it's such a big factor of the game. And the Oilers' power play had been silent. They did score on a 5-on-3 in the blowout game, which maybe gave them a little bit of confidence, but then they scored twice in game 5, Tyler. And we saw this against Dallas. And this power play, even when they weren't scoring, like they were at least generating chances, right? The one thing I have noticed on the power play, though, is Bobrovsky seems better going to his left, right? Like that he has made some great saves off of Draisaitl on that side. And I wonder if we see them now. Obviously, the Hyman goal was actually going wide, but it was going to the right. It was going to the far side of the net, right? And I just wonder if we see if that's where they're going to attack a little bit more on that side of Bobrovsky. Try to bring him a little bit more going from his left to his right rather than right to left.
Yeah, I do like the comparison you made to the Dallas series because it's kind of similar, right? Their power play just kind of got better and better as the series went on. And of course, when teams have a chance to, game plan a little bit for the Oilers, it can work for a bit. But I stand by the fact that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, no matter who's out there on the PK side, and I am including Alexander Barkov in this, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, I believe, are the 2 smartest players on the ice at any time. So you can game plan for them. You can see what they did in the past series, and it's just a matter of time until Connor and Leon build up enough tape on your penalty kill to figure out, okay, this is what we need to do. This is where the soft spots are. This is what we need to change up. And I think we saw last game, they were trying to attack off the rush a little bit more. There was a play that was even offside where Bouchard tried to snap it up to Zach Hyman because they felt like they had a read on some missed coverage there and maybe a bit of a sloppy change from Florida. So I think we're starting to see Edmonton, like you said, with where they're putting their shots and where they're attacking from, starting to change up their strategy a little bit, starting to get a read on what might work for the Panthers. And, if you could bet on it, I'd be banking on the Oilers scoring another power play goal in Game 6.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a shocker by any stretch of the imagination. Tyler Remchuk joins us here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. The concerns are obviously there's lots of reasons to be excited for the Oilers, but they're still only halfway to the goal. And, the Florida Panthers, Matthew Tkachuk, once he scored, was suddenly Tkachuk's in the series. And he was very noticeable after that, which is a big boost for them. We see them changing the line, like Evan Rodrigues, one of their leading goal scorers. So that line, which had been outscored quite heavily when it was Verhaeghe, now all of a sudden might be good. And so I'll be curious, what line matchups he wants on home ice. Like if you're Knobloch, do you want McDavid out against Barkov or Bennett's line?
Whew. I honestly, I don't know if I even have a preference when it comes to that. If I'm Chris Knobloch, just because again, and what did they end up doing at Game 4 was obviously such a blowout. But in Game 3, who did Connor see the most of in that one? Was it more Barkov?
In which game?
In Game 3, the one that was actually close. Oh no, he saw more of the Bennett Tkachuk Verhaeghe line. Actually, it was about 2 times as much. I would keep rolling with that then. I think I'd have no problem going McDavid up against Bennett and Draisaitl up against the Barkov line. I, again, would like to see it get out of hand early, and then again, the matchups just don't matter, and Edmonton can just sort of stay in their rhythm. But yeah, I think if I'm Knobloch, I have no problem going Bennett on McDavid. It seemed to work out pretty well. He outscored him 2-0. So yeah, I'd go with that.
Yeah. Okay. Because, matchups, I don't know, maybe we overlook at them sometimes. I do think there's specific times where it can benefit for sure. And, you look at the Oilers, like we saw in the big advantage Edmonton had that we didn't talk about a lot in Game 4 was how limited minutes their top guys played. Right. They're 17-minute. Bouchard had played because he was playing games of 27 where I thought he looked maybe a little bit fatigued. And I just think that and more of it's mental than physical. Like you're on the ice 27 minutes, man. Like you're in the game. It's just like, oh my God, I'm never getting a rest. Right. And you like it, but sometimes it can catch up on you. The Broberg Nurse pairing, I thought struggled early in that game. Both of them, they toned down later on, but early in that game, man, there was a lot of times where the Oilers weren't as crisp defensively in Game 5.
No, there was a handful of moments where it was ugly, and a bunch of them obviously ended up in the back of the Oilers' net just as a team. And Broberg and Nurse definitely had their struggles. And I know just being online again, people, and I kind of agreed with that, calling for them to barely be on the ice in the third period, and I think that was justified. But like you said, they did kind of get better as the game went on. I do think there's a couple of not even matchup things, but kind of usage questions I had about Knobloch. One would have been with Nurse and Broberg. Whenever the Oilers were scoring, after they scored, the line that came out after the goal was Broberg and Nurse on the blue line for the most part. And then it was the McLeod, Derek Ryan, Corey Perry line coming out next. And almost every time after the Oilers scored, there was a push by the Panthers. The one time, obviously, after that crazy McDavid goal, it resulted in Rodriguez scoring right away. But he kept going. Even after some of the TV timeouts, he would go with that fourth line. And I'm not sure if it was a conscious thing Knobloch was doing because of the matchups, or if he felt like maybe after a goal or after a TV timeout, that's where he could just slide those guys 45 seconds to keep them in the game. But it was very frustrating to continually see that line get thrown out there and continually see them get caved in those shifts right after the Oilers would score. So if I was Chris Knobloch, one adjustment I'd be making, or one adjustment I am looking for him to make, is when you score, I'd go with that Janmark Brown and Henrique line. And I don't want a line that's just going to sit back and play safe and keep the Panthers to the outside. If I'm scoring, I want to go with a line that's just going to keep on pushing forward and keep on being relentless. So that's one thing that was frustrating from an Oilers perspective last game that I'm thinking could be corrected next game.
Thing is, he's done that. If you go back and look, he's done it all year pretty much. He's not afraid to put his fourth line. He is, I think, one of his best assets as a coach. He is very cognizant of not having guys sit on the bench too long. He likes to do that, and I know the players love it, right? Gets guys involved. Now, you're right. Maybe you got to sense the timing a little bit. Like we've seen the last 2 games, home and away, he starts the Henrique, Janmark, and Brown line. I asked Connor McDavid about it because by doing that, and even in games, it allows a few shifts where McDavid doesn't always have to see the best guys. Right. And Edmonton hasn't had a third line like that continual where the coach shows that not only do you put him on the ice, but when you put him on the ice, you know that they're going to be able to not get overwhelmed and in some cases go on the offensive.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. And listen, not to give too much love to one line and be throwing too much disrespect on the Ryan Perry-McLeod line, because I'm just looking here. They've played 10-37 together at 5-on-5. They've allowed 1 goal against. Henrique, Janmark, and Brown, they've played more, but they allowed a goal against too. There was that Ekman-Larsson goal. They were on the ice for. They couldn't get the puck out. Brown and Janmark kind of got discombobulated at the top of the zone, and no one watched Ekman-Larsson as he crept in. So again, it's okay to have rough moments, but that was just one thing where kind of happened a couple times, and I watched that fourth line get caved. And you're right, getting them on the ice, making them feel like they're a part of the game, it is important. And Corey Perry eventually stepped up and obviously scored a big goal. But I just wonder about maybe picking the spot a little bit better and not just, especially if the crowd's rocking in behind you and you get an early lead or you take a 2-1 lead in that game, not giving back any of that momentum to Florida and put out a line that's going to really skate and forecheck hard, maybe even lay a hit and just keep the crowd in it.
Tyler Ramchuk Jones is in Sports 1440. Ty, what's your sense of, it sounds odd, but I think I don't know why I find this game's a little bit more potential trappy. There's lots of people that think, hey, Edmonton's going to win. I understand most Oilers fans should feel that way. I don't want to question it for a second, but I don't think the Oilers do in talking to them today. But I just wonder if there's a different approach if all of a sudden it's like, hey, obviously Edmonton has played 2 games where they had to win. So maybe it doesn't matter because they're like, well, guys, nothing changes. We just have another game that we have to win. But it's later in the series. And I don't know, there's lots of people around the rink today that feel like this smells like a trap game. I'm not sure I buy it. Where do you come in on?
I'm not sure if I totally buy it either. I do get a little bit of, one, the sport is very hard to predict. If it was easy to predict, we'd all be rich from placing bets and whatnot. If you would have told me ahead of Game 4 that the final score was going to be 8-1, or if you would have told Oilers fans that the final score in Game 4 was going to be 8-1, I got a feeling a lot of them wouldn't have even watched the game, because if it felt like if one team was going to blow out the other, it was going to be Florida blowing out the Oilers and putting this series to bed. So it's tough to predict. And I do think, I understand why some fans would maybe get nervous when they hear everybody sitting and going, this thing's going 7. Rogers is going to be rocking. The crowd's going to propel him to a win, because it's never that easy. But at the same time, I think this Oilers team and this year's group has proven that they've learned some lessons from years past. I do think there's a little bit in past years. They'd come out for a massive game on home ice and maybe they'd come back and win the game, but they would always start just absolutely terribly. I don't get the sense with this year's team. I think they're a little bit more dialed in. I think they've, as cliche as it is, learned some tough lessons from playoff exits in the past. I think they're going to be dialed in, and I do think that crowd is going to be a massive factor. Another thing, too, is we saw a good amount of frustration from different parts of that Panthers team and organization, I guess, in Bill Zito last game. I think if the crowd's into this early and the Oilers get one early, Florida's really going to be gripping their sticks. And I do think that is a factor. As much as people say momentum doesn't go over game to game and things like that, it's the Stanley Cup final. If you can get the thought in the Panthers' heads early, if they're down 1-0 or 2-0 or whatever, like, oh my God, from a Panthers perspective, we're on the verge of having to go back home for a Game 7. Like, we're on the verge of blowing this. I think that's huge for the Oilers. So again, trap game potentially, because Florida's a really good team and they've been a good road team all year as well. And they've come into this building already in this series and gotten a win. But I'm back to my thought from before the series, which is if Edmonton brings their A game, they'll win the hockey game.
Before I let you go, we got a few texters wondering, how sad are you with the early results at Euro for Italy and Ukraine?
I'm not a big footy guy. I don't know. I've never really gotten into it. So I can't even say I'm really all that sad, although we have a bunch of football fans in our office. So the Euros are always on the TV. It's enjoying enough for me to sit and watch while I eat my lunch. But sadly, I'm not that into it. I am somewhat going to be keeping tabs on Canada, Argentina today, although I'm being told they're going to get murdered.
Well, hey, buddy, it's you never know. Like, obviously, that's a big test for Canada going up against them in the Copa Americas, but it's good for them. It'll be, hey, if they wanted to play these better nations tonight, obviously will probably maybe not be the best result, but if they keep it close, to me, they can just work on some things, and we'll see. Ty, enjoy it. It should be a hell of a game 6 tomorrow night.
Thanks, Greg.
That's Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Face-Off. 833-401-1440 in our E-Well inbox. We got lots more coming up. Ron Lowe is going to join us in the next hour. Spec will be by. We're also going to hear from Matthias Ekholm. Stuart Skinner and Connor McDavid held court today. I'm going to let you to listen to lots of what they had to say just about the series. You have two guys, one in Connor McDavid, who's just lighting it up. You have another guy in Stuart Skinner, who's really proven in every series. Just look at his numbers from round 1 to the Stanley Cup final. The longer the series goes, the better he gets. So ask him about that and more coming up. And also, we'll speed things up next in the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Let's do this, Edmonton.
Off the goal line, McDavid fires and scores, and there will be a game 6 of the Stanley Cup final.
This is Sports 1440. Finals fever is here, and it's all about the Oilers. We're boosting your odds and enhancing your parlays on all playoff games. Every bet on any game enters you into a draw to win seats for the 2024-25 hockey season, or 5 pairs of seats to 5 separate Oilers games for the 2024-25 season. Use promo code Gregor50 when you deposit at playalberta.ca to receive a $50 free sports bet. Join the excitement and cheer on the Oilers. Let's bring it home. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hi, Jason Gregor for Volvo of Edmonton. This summer, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC60 with 0% finance, or save up to $6,500 on select models for qualifying loyal customers. Plus a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty with all demo vehicles. And if you're thinking hybrid, save $6,000 off all 2024 new and demo XC60 Recharge plug-in models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. 1205 101st Street Southwest, or visit volvocarsedmonton.com.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase style, regular season gameplay, and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2011 and 2016. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
Heavy hauling in the worst of climates can be dreadful. Take the stress off the job with AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. They redefine heavy hauling with premium heavy haul trailers designed, manufactured, and battle tested in the harshest of conditions. And if your heavy haul trailer has issues, their full service and frame inspections will tell you exactly what's wrong and why. They take the guessing out of repair work with quality engineered frame repairs that get you back working quick. Discover the difference at AccuSteel.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
Sherwood Honda will happily sell you a used vehicle. But first, it will be pre-Sherwood Honda certified with a 159-point pre-inspection, then pre-stored to Sherwood Honda's high standards. Then they pre-guarantee the lowest finance rates and prevent problems with the 30-day exchange privilege. Pre-owned or used, Sherwood Honda actually has plenty of both in stock with a buying experience you sure would prefer.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Turn on, I see red. Crash my head. That's who took a baby down. I see red.
We roll through a lovely Thursday afternoon. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Also, some of you watching on Twitter and Instagram, listing at sports1440.ca. We appreciate it and very much, however you listen and consume and watch the show. Thank you very much. It's time now to speed things up a little bit. This is our weekly racing report brought to you by Can Torque. And hey, they continue to speed things up a little bit because now they have in-house machining capacity, which means quicker turnarounds, improved quality control, and ultimate flexibility. So give them a shout, 436-2000, or an email at colin@cantorque.com. As we welcome in our racing guru once again, Colin Livingston joins us. And Colin, we're now into the a real busy stretch for F1. They're in Barcelona this weekend. Then they go to Austria. They're into De Britain, then an off week, and then Hungary and Spa before the summer break. Like, so you're a guy who's, you've been involved heavily in the race, like 5 and 6 weeks, man. Like, that's a real strain. Sure, on the drivers, but probably more on the crew.
Yeah, way more on the crew for sure, because even if things go well, they have so much to do. Fortunately, they're all fairly close. Europe is not really hard to get around, but still, if you've got rough weekends and you've got repairs, then it's mind-bogglingly difficult. And then even though they're trying to get ready for the next race and the next race, they're still trying to get all their development done, because when they shut down at the end of that sixth race or the fifth race in 6 weeks, they have their summer break where everything's they're legally mandated to stop working for whatever. It's just over 3 weeks. I don't remember when they have to kind of get out of the buildings, but there's a lot to be done in the next little bit. And then, we get kind of overload of F1 here for the next month and a half, and then it disappears, but then IndyCar can cover.
Kevin Magnuson said that Carlos Sainz is the cork in the bottle now for all the drivers, because there's lots of uncertainty on who's going to be in which seat next year. What are you hearing? Where do you think Sainz goes? And is he clearly the best available driver?
He's definitely the highest profile driver. I don't know that he's necessarily the best. I've got a lot of issues with the mistakes that he makes and when he makes them. Okay. Yes, he is a great driver. They're all great drivers, but it's almost certain, at least to me, that he's going to end up at Williams. They have apparently offered him a 4-year contract, which is really long.
Yeah.
Those types of contracts will have a lot of clauses, for him that'll say if he gets approached by, any of these teams, being Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, he can have the exit in that period of time. But Williams is definitely trying to show the world that they are committed to getting back to the front. Even to the point today, I read a quote from Alex Albon that said, "I'm entirely in favor of us basically abandoning our 2025 development so that we can start focusing on 2026 when the regulations change." Because trying to catch up, they're so far behind, trying to catch up to, the four front runners right now is almost unachievable. So it's not necessarily the worst strategy in the world.
Well, it was interesting, right? When you say that there would go away from it. So when one of your drivers publicly states that it probably says, okay, everybody's on board. And he's basically saying, well, the next year we're not going to be any worse. We're not much going to be any better, really. Well, maybe worse than what they are now. Like, how far does Williams have to go though? Because like, when was the last time they were really competitive?
Be the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. So that's what, that's a long because that's what I thought. I'm like, man, we're talking like 2 decades since they've truly, and they used to be at the top, but
they are the top team.
Yeah.
Like they've won.
And so what would it take? Like, I guess they could start focusing on it now, but they haven't been able to close the gap at all in 20 years. Why would I think that, okay, now we're going to start because the rules change. How would the rule change benefit them? What could they do better?
Because everyone's starting with a clean sheet of paper in 2026, it gives everyone the chance to kind of find the advantage in that gray area, or to figure out how to put the combination of the engine and the new suspension and the new aerodynamics together. Obviously, Red Bull capitalized on it with this generation, when the cars went from purely downforce to ground effect. The previous generation, for people who are new to the sport, Mercedes really maximized and optimized the turbo hybrid engine. That was the last big development before now, and Mercedes dominated for 8 years. So basically what they're saying is they know that no matter what they do between now and the end of 2025, they're not going to close the gap based on how far behind they are with this current regulation. So they might as well start figuring out the 2026 program. The only problem is those regulations haven't been finalized yet. So they don't really know what they're going to be doing. There have been proposals, but a lot of it has to do with how they designate their budget, because in this current cost cap, they want to make sure that they're channeling their money in the right way. You can't be working on this project over here and this project over here and be effective. So if they basically kind of cut their losses on, until the end of 2025, they take all that revenue, which gets spent in the 2025 year, but apply it to the 2026 car, they might have some advantage, because Red Bull really can't, they can't really take their foot off the throttle now that, Mercedes, McLaren, and Ferrari have started, closing the gap.
Yeah, because they had that advantage last year, but they don't necessarily have it this year.
Correct.
Switching to IndyCar, David Malukas returns to the series. Now, he had signed actually in F1 with McLaren, right?
No, with McLaren and IndyCar.
McLaren and IndyCar, but he never actually raced with them.
Correct.
Because he broke his wrist away from racing, right?
Yeah, in a mountain biking incident.
And so I'm assuming, do they have a clause in their contract? You just get your contract void because of that?
No.
Okay.
But IndyCar, Formula One's a little bit more tightly regulated, because the rules of Europe and the EU are so specific. There's a lot of employee protections that happen there that we don't see over here. These guys kind of make their own rules as they come and go. I mean, I sent you, I don't have the images in front of me, but I sent you kind of the timeline of what's happened from, them trying to sign Alex Palou. Alex Palou was under contract with Ganassi, said he was going to McLaren, ended up having his contract with Ganassi and Forest. Then they picked Malukas, and I just have to say, David Malukas is one of the nicest kids I've met in the last, bunch of years. I got to interview him last year during the Toronto Indy. Just a super kid, just really, really friendly, very clever, great sense of humor. So I was really happy to see that he was going to a top tier team. Never got to turn a lap with them. They say that because of his unspecified recovery timeline, that they had to put somebody else in the car. They tried a couple different people. Théo Pocher, former F2 driver, he was signed and he was going to run the season out, and then somehow they punted him. Even Pocher posted this week that he was really excited to be able to race at Laguna Seca. And later that day, they announced that they replacing him with Nolan Siegel, who had just done his first IndyCar race as a last-second replacement for Canapino at Road America. So a lot of the shadiness, though, is McLaren, because they pulled a lot of this crap the last couple of years where it seems like Zach Brown, I don't know Zach at all. I've never met the man. I'm just kind of going based on the results of what I see. He's like a dog with multiple bones. Like, he tries to collect all these things, but once he gets them, he doesn't really know what to do with them. And, it's a really bad look for a top tier team like McLaren to, first of all, most of these highly touted drivers, especially in whether it's in Formula One or IndyCar, they go to a junior team. They go to a less, not necessarily a slower team, but they go to a less prestigious team. They'll go to a Dale Coyne. They'll, go to a Ray Hall. And they spend a couple of years learning their craft without so much pressure. Once they've proven themselves and once they've, got some time to develop, then they'll, if they've got what it takes, they'll be targeted by a Penske, by an Andretti, by a Ganassi or a McLaren. And the fact that McLaren is grabbing this kid with essentially no experience, at least at IndyCar level, is kind of mind-boggling. It'll be really, really interesting to see if this works for them. I mean, I don't wish the kid, anything but the best, but he's getting thrown into the deep end, very, very quickly without a lot of chance to figure out how to swim.
Yeah. Which is, but obviously they must have a lot of belief in him. Otherwise they wouldn't have signed him, right? I got to think. I could be wrong, but they must see some potential.
They seem to have a lot of faith in Poucher as well, but they just kind of cut him free. But the plus side is, buddy of mine that I met through karting, Christian Brooks, who's been running in the USF Pro 2000 series, he gets to move into the seat that's vacated by Siegel. So, that's pretty cool to see, someone that I've known from the world of karting is moving, one step away from IndyCar here. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
well done, Christian.
That is pretty good. Speaking of IndyCar, 6 different winners in the 7 races thus far. They're on the legendary track in Monterey this weekend, I think it is. So you got a double dose if you're an open wheel race fan of IndyCar and F1. This weekend. What do you make of IndyCar? Do you see any favorite in your mind? Like, it's been more competitive, although I will say F1 this year's become more competitive for sure. But IndyCar, like, there doesn't, like, from week to week, man, I have no idea who's going to win.
Six different winners in 7 races. You can never predict what's going to happen. I mean, that's the best part. Obviously, as you mentioned, F1 has there've been 4 winners this year in Formula One.
Yeah.
Sainz,
Max,
Lando Norris,
Charles
Leclerc.
Yeah.
So, there have been, and now Mercedes might have a shot to kind of get back there and start, collecting podiums again. Maybe they'll have a shot at a win. That's where it gets exciting when you don't know, the last era, the last few years where it was, Max shows up, Max, wins pole by a second, can finish 28 seconds ahead of anybody else. Kudos to Red Bull for having that. Not the best racing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this weekend, Laguna Seca, one of the coolest tracks, not necessarily the best for passing. There's a couple spots where you'll see that, but even with that, Indy teams, they still have to make like 3, at least 2, 3, 4 pit stops.
Yep.
So there's a lot of shuffling of who's going to be up front, who's going to be in the middle. You make a mistake, you make a great pit stop. That also, plays to the on-track advantage. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be great because just in a few hours, I mean, I guess it's not like it'll be tonight, but when you wake up tomorrow morning, there'll be FP1 on from Barcelona, probably see FP2. Then we can move into, the IndyCar. I think IndyCar only has 1 practice tomorrow at like 3 p.m. or something like that. And then, Saturday, a couple of qualifiers, and then, from 7 o'clock in the morning for the F1 race. And then I'm not really sure what time the IndyCar race is at, but lots of fun.
Colin, good stuff, man. Enjoy the racing weekend, and Even hockey. Everybody gets into hockey.
I got tricked into watching. here. I got to say that I've watched 4 games this year. I've only watched 4. All 4 were Oilers wins. And when I went and watched with my daughter on Saturday, she told me if I didn't watch the game because, it was a blowout win on Saturday, I was pretty much being disowned. So now I got tricked.
So now you're in. You'll be watching tomorrow. Got no choice. Can't let down your daughter.
We'll be at the Beaumont Music Festival, and I've got to figure out how to stream it on my phone because I don't want to bear any responsibility. I mean, they're obviously going to win tomorrow night. I don't think that's really in question. And look forward to seeing what happens in Game 7.
Should be fun. Awesome. That's Colin Livingston in the Racing Report, brought to you by Can Torque. Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Fountain Tire. Need tires? Hey, maybe you like to go faster. They got all those tires, but also any sort of mechanical issues, they can help you fix those as well. Book your appointment today at fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Off ice signing today, the Pittsburgh Penguins bringing back Alex Nedeljkovic on a 2-year contract through 2026. Carries an AAV of $2.5 million in the association. The Lakers, according to reports, are agreeing to terms on a 4-year contract with J.J. Redick to make him the team's next head coach. And the Chicago Bulls are trading 2-time all-defensive guard Alex Caruso to the Oklahoma City Thunder for guard Josh Giddey. In the NFL, you got the New England Patriots agreeing to a 4-year, $36 million contract extension with running back Ramondre Stevenson. In the majors right now, Orioles up on the Yankees 12-5 midway through the 6th. Just 2 more games to get going today. Padres, Brewers, and the Giants and Cards meeting at the Brickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama. Earlier today, you had the Diamondbacks over the Nationals 5-2. Guardians get past the Mariners 6-3. Rays over the Twins 7-6. Astros down the White Sox 5-3. And it was the Royals over the Athletics 3-2. Copa America gets going tonight. Canada takes on Argentina from Atlanta. That one's starting just after 6 o'clock. European Championship. Earlier today, England and Denmark drawing at 1 apiece, as did Serbia and Slovenia. Italy falling to Spain 1-0 in their matchup. In the WNBA, earlier on this afternoon, the Sky of Chicago defeat the Wings 83-72. Later tonight, Liberty taking on the Sparks. The Stingers are in action down at the Hive, hosting the Ottawa Blackjacks. That one gets going at 7 o'clock, and the Riverhawks continue their road trip there in Kelowna tonight. First pitch just after 8. Coming up in Hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by former Oilers coach Ron Lowe, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take 1 for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready.
Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
We freaking killed it, Nuge.
That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah. Well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
Cheer team.
Just what I do.
Turn a lap with them.
Heating and Cooling.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? Great savings when you book those.
We are rolling through a lovely Thursday afternoon.
And get a $10 discount on your next
Well,
Ask for details.
here to fix it.
Plus, their out-of-bounds restaurant is a must-try. CattailCrossing.ca. Hey, sports fans, we've got a
28.
great choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cblhomes.com.
Warmer, brighter days can make you crave something to sip. Booster Juice is busting out booster mixers, the summer fixers. Cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. The Mango Teaser, Berry Teaser, Almighty Acai, Game Set Matcha, and Oranges and Cream. Try all 5 and brighten your day a sip at a time. And try the Cookies and Cream Booster Ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Hey Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into
Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit EdmontonKubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key.
Hey Leduc, it's me, Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy. What you might not know is that I started practicing physio here in Leduc more than 23 years ago. In those years since, I haven't forgotten the kind and welcoming people that trusted me then. Feels great to be back, but I know we have to live up to our promise, and that's to live up to our name. This means bringing a leading edge focus on our environments, technology, communities, and the people who will care for you, like Graham Raymond and Amanda McIsaac, two locals who want to make a difference in your life. We're now open in Leduc. Learn more about us at leadingedgephysio.com.
Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers presents a massive 3-day unreserved heavy equipment auction at their Nisku site, June 24th to 26th, 8 a.m. Live on-site and online. Heavy equipment, excavators, loaders, trucks, trailers, plus rig moving dispersal. Register to bid. It's free. Priority bids, on-site viewing, and registration on now. Timed auction starts June 21st. Demand for equipment is strong.
Awesome. That's Colin Livingston,
your local territory manager to consign. More at rbauction.com.
Shift into spring with Murray's Truck Parts Locators. He has the parts knowledge like no other. Murray knows where to find what you need and get them fast with competitive pricing. That's Murray's promise. For truck inspections, hunter wheel alignments, and repairs that make your engine purr, call Murray at 780-678-2128. Murray's Truck Parts Locators for your truck parts and repairs. Located just minutes west of Camrose in Irvik Subdivision.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the Cheesy Burger Trio or choose between the large Cheesy Burger Pizza for $18.99, Cheesy Burger Papadilla for $9.99, and Bacon Cheesy Burger Papa Bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Cheesy Burger Pizza at Papa John's.
Rolling along on a lovely Thursday afternoon. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger also here on a busy day. Of course, if you're a Euro fan, the Euro game still going on. NHL, day off. The Panthers flew today. The Oilers the Panthers did practice on their practice rink in Florida and then flew. They will arrive here in about 2 hours time. The Oilers skated at the community rink because Snoop Dogg is in town tonight with a concert, and then they will have practice. People always ask how long does it take? Basically, so whenever the concert ends, you have the in-stadium crew who will be working overnight. They get all of the setup gets torn down because he actually plays in Calgary tomorrow. And then you have the ice crew. They'll come out and they'll be working. They get all the boards off of the ice, and usually then they flood it right away, scrape it because they don't melt the ice tonight. Right? They just put boards over top of it in case you're wondering. So that's usually how it works. And away you go. And then they'll be ready to go tomorrow. Usually, you know what? I don't think it's just boards. They probably have something else, but the integrity of the ice doesn't change that much. They're lucky here in Edmonton. They got pretty good ice conditions. and voted second best in the NHL this year. So I don't think ice will be a major factor tomorrow. Both teams will skate on it during the day, so that actually helps. Short now, they're very short morning skates, but just allows it to if there's any issues, they'll find out in the morning skate, and away they go. They flood it multiple times, and then it's ready to roll. The Oilers doesn't look like there'll be any lineup changes based on practice today. Florida, Cousins will be in for Okposo. They're going to switch Verhaeghe and Rodrigues again. So Rodrigue will play with Bennett and Kachuk, and Verhaeghe will be with Barkov and Reinhart. The Oilers, I expect everything status quo. The only other change you'll see in Florida, which you did see last game, was Oliver Ekman-Larsson took over the number one power play unit. Brandon Montour got demoted. I don't think it was just because of the pass. It was a bad pass that Connor Brown got a stick on, and then boom, went in and scored the shorthanded goal that got the Oilers off and running and started them up to a 3-0 lead, which of course became 4-1, and then they won the game 5-3 on McDavid's second of the night and the empty netter. It's going to be a huge game tomorrow. The nerves and the excitement for fans likely ratchets up. Probably noon. Start to think about it. So we'll see. We look at hey guys, how many air fresheners and Febreze will they use? I know we talked about that. Yeah, they have a pretty good filtration system, I think is the best way to put it. They'll be probably working a little bit harder than normal. We've talked a lot about the Stanley Cup, but the other factor is, and I know for Oilers fans, you're only focused on one thing, as you should be, but there is quite a bit of news around the NHL as we're in the buyout window period right now, and which will end next Thursday. And there are a few candidates left now. The Edmonton Oilers, because we keep getting text, Gregor, do you think the Oilers would buy out Jack Campbell? I think there is a legit possibility, yes. And as long as he's put on waivers on Wednesday, then they could put him on a buyout. They're not going to make any announcement like that. Like, you wouldn't do that during the Stanley Cup run. It makes no sense for your team, right? Like, Jack Campbell is still a guy who's around the team. He's liked by his teammates, whether they're in Bakersfield or in Edmonton, and they're not going to do that. So if it goes to Game 7, they finish Game 7. You probably have that release on a Tuesday or a Wednesday is when it would come out. So, but I think there's a decent chance. The Oilers, if you're thinking ahead to the offseason, Janmark and Brown are UFAs. Henrique, Carrick, and Perry are UFAs, and Sam Gagner. I think the Oilers would really like to get Janmark and Brown. I think we've seen their value to the team. The good news for Edmonton is because of their regular season numbers, I know they've been valuable in the playoffs, no question, but the regular season numbers aren't going to command big bucks. At least I wouldn't think. So, Janmark, I would say if I had to bet and I could only pick one, I think Janmark's the most likely to resign in Edmonton. I think they'd like to get Connor Brown, but Connor Brown and his agent will weigh and say, well, hey, what's the market going to look like? Because we know that's a factor. Vincent Desharnais also, I expect him to test free agency or at least get really close. Because I remember Brett Kulak, and I loved his honesty when he said, you know what, I was this close to free agency. I had a lot of people telling me, just go through the process. It's interesting. You'll see other offers, and guess what? Somebody might offer you a little bit more money, but then you'll have to weigh it. Well, is it going to be better for me and my family to go there? It's not always about the money. Now, if you're Vincent Desharnais and maybe the Oilers are offering you, I don't know, 1.5, 1.8, whatever the number is, $2 million, but someone else offers you 2.6 and it's a 3-year deal, well, now that adds up to $1.8 million in difference. So that's a big consideration then. So I think that's an option. Whoever the GM is, and I think like that's the other thing for the Oilers. I am a firm believer that Ken Holland will not be back as the GM for the Edmonton Oilers. I think there's a slight chance he could be in as a consultant, maybe, right? Because there's some big contract negotiations coming up for the Edmonton Oilers. Or he might just completely walk away. We'll see. But a consultant, now does he want it? I think there's some interest there. Do the Oilers want it? I think there is. But then, you probably got to be the right compensation, all those sorts of things that go into it. But I think Jeff Jackson, there will be a new GM. And, I wonder how much, say Jeff Jackson will have. He's obviously going to have some say, but will he be the quasi GM? And then the other thing, if I'm looking at the tea leaves and conversations I've had, I think the one position you're going to see that is signed in the offseason for the Edmonton Oilers, I think they're going to bring in like a skills coach. Right now, they always have Dave Pelche in as a skating skills coach, but I think because now teams have multiple of them, and I think you're going to see a former player, pretty skilled player, come in that position. So that's the one move I see. You'll also see some other changes in management, just because that's how it happens. Right? Jeff Jackson comes in. He was hired last year. You oversee some stuff. You work with some guys. You don't work with some guys. That's what happens. So that's how I view it. Hey guys, how significant is the message sent by Knobloch being in the finals with no silly lineup and starting goalie secrets and shenanigans from the burglar? Now, are you saying the message just being, well, Knobloch's kind of been that way all year long, right? He'll tell you who the starting goalie is the day before and, says his lineup change. Now, he'll say sometimes, hey, you got to wait till the game. And I get it, right? Like do I think it would ultimately matter if the opposition knew who your third line left winger was? The morning skate. I don't think it would really change their game plan that much, but in the playoffs, I can understand a little bit more if they're going to hide. And really, Knobloch didn't really do that until later in the playoffs, right? It just gets a little bit more serious, so I don't have a problem with it, right? Like, if this was round one, he probably would have said today, no lineup changes. But it's the Stanley Cup Finals, and it is a little bit different. Hey, Greg, do you think Coffey will stay on? Or is that unclear? Thanks from Stu. Well, last time I spoke to Paul about it, and I haven't talked to Paul, other than saying hello and stuff, but I haven't had a long conversation with him since the playoffs began. You don't want to get into those questions, but when I talked to Paul late in the year, he said that he was having more fun than he thought he would. He's really enjoyed it. I think the players have enjoyed it. They've clearly responded to how he coaches, what he coaches, how he challenges them, how he supports them. I think we've seen that. And he hasn't been afraid, right? Like, I think he might be the first coach here who's challenged Darnell Nurse more. And I think that's a good thing, right? He's challenged all his players in good ways, but you know what? He's not afraid to make the tough decision on the back end. And Knobloch has said, like, lots of those defensive decisions on who's in or out, like a lot of it comes to Paul Coffey. As it should be, that's the position coach. The head coach, obviously, you know what? They got to be on the same page. But I think there's a pretty good chance Paul Coffey will return. Right? Why would you change Mark Stewart? Look what he's done in the penalty kill, right? Glenn Galton has been part of that power play for a long time. I don't see any reason to change anything there. So I know that Chris Knobloch, the only guy that came in with him was Paul Coffey, but he's obviously worked. Now, maybe behind the scenes, I don't know, maybe there is something there, but, he talks very glowingly about Stewart and his coaches. So I think coaches respect them and appreciate them. And as you get to know each other, it's better. So I would see no reason to make a change unless one of the coaches gets a promotion somewhere else. But there's not many openings there, right? Clums is the only head coaching job opening, and I don't see Glenn Galton getting that. 4:24, quick break. When we return, we will get back on the hockey train. Former Edmonton Oilers head coach Ron Lowe will join us next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Edmonton Stingers basketball face the Ottawa Blackjacks Thursday, June 20th at the Edmonton Expo Center. Enjoy affordable family fun with a $5 food and drink menu and free parking. Tickets start at just $20. Visit thestingers.ca/tickets.
Black Friday pricing is back at the Brick. The savings continue all week with up to $1,000 off sectionals. and up to 40% off mattresses. And save up to 25% off select major kitchen appliances. Take advantage of Black Friday prices this summer to pick up all of the essentials for your home. Shopping has never been easier. Take advantage of these fabulous deals today because Black Friday pricing won't last forever. Some exclusions apply. The Brick, saving you more.
Hi, it's Jason Gregor. We're looking for an experienced salesperson to join us as we continue to grow the Sports 1440 brand across the province. Of course, you'll sell Mornings with Carius, Low Tide Show, The Frenzy, as well as my show. No radio sales experience is needed, but you need some sales experience. You have to love sports, and you must be a hunter and driven. The base salary plus commissions for this great opportunity, and trust me, you'll have loads of fun working with us. Email your resume to gregor@sports1440.ca. We look forward to having you on the team.
Go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
At McDonald's, we know summer can go by quickly, so make the most of all the park hangs, beach days, sunsets, and festivals. Whew. With a $2 plus tax sundae or snack size milkshake or an app-exclusive $1 plus tax soft serve cone. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada, prices exclude delivery. App download and registration required.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And that tradition continues with the all-new 2024 F-150. Lease one today with $1,000 down and pay just $299 bi-weekly, taxes included. That's the value you've come to expect from where cars always cost less. The F-150 $299 driveway lease, only at Denham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
The ATV Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
$15 gets you access to the tournament or upgrade your ticket for premium greenside viewing.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATV Classic at Northern Bear Golf Club.
June 27th to 30th.
Get your tickets at atvclassic.com.
For the next 20 years, the Daily Grand. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. That equals $7.2 million. But you just get $1,000 a day. Oh, it's like, think about how good of a movie every day. Like, oh, geez, had a bad night. What happened? Pop up. Oh, your $1,000 being deposited every day. God, that'd be a nice little message to get every day. Like certain messages, I think you might get tired of. Getting $1,000, I never get tired of it. Hey, what am I going to do with that today? Could save it. Put it in the bank. Oh, maybe we need a new stove. Boom, done. Love it. Let's go around the NHL now. Brought to you by McDonald's, where I've said this before. It's only here for a limited time, but it is fresh strawberries mixed in with chunks of cheesecake flavored cookie dough for the glorious strawberry cheesecake McFlurry. Try it now at McDonald's. And we are joined by a former player, also was assistant coach and head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Ron Lowe joins us now. Mr. Lowe, how you doing?
Good, Jason. How's everything over there?
Oh, it's pretty easy right now, Ron. I'm not going to lie. It's a good time and to have a sports show in Edmonton where the team's in the Stanley Cup final. You got Connor McDavid doing Connor McDavid-like things. I want to ask, Ron, as you watch the game, and, obviously, you probably watch the goaltenders a lot because that's the position you play. But then from the coaching standpoint, like, how closely do you watch, like, kind of the matchups to see what the coaches will do in game?
Well, in this series, it's kind of pretty crucial the way the whole thing started. They got their matchups with Barkov and Connor, but in the end, I think really good players do really good things in the playoffs. It's been going on for years.
Yeah, no, that's true. And like, you coached against Modano and Zubov, right? Like, you can game plan certain times, Ron, but there are certain times you're just like, well, I don't even know how to stop that, right? Like, sometimes you just tip your hat. How did you approach it when the other team's best players just did great things?
Well, Modano was a perfect example. I mean, the one year that we beat them, Dougie Waite did. I mean, in the end, Hitch said, Modano checked Waite to a standstill. I'm going, okay. You can put a spin on anything you want, but Dougie Waite did a hell of a job against them. And the rest of it, I think you have to do by committee. I mean, the defenseman, it's hard to frickin' say that you can stop a defenseman because when they join the rush, lots of times you've had two guys forecheck and you might get one or both of them caught deep. And if the D-man joins the rush at that time, it's pretty much hard to defend against it. That's why I think the Oilers have done a heck of a job this series of keeping the defenseman kind of out of the play, and that's been crucial.
Oh, yeah. Well, you look at it, how they adapted their wingers in their own zone. Just they sank a little bit lower. So because the Florida defensemen, they would love to pinch down, and now if you got to pinch down 2 or 3 more feet, Ron. Now you make them have to make that decision, and they've pulled back. Plus, we saw Edmonton, at least in game 4 and 5, or in game 3 and 4, they implemented that stretch pass more, and that really seemed to slow them down. Now, we didn't see it as much in game 5, but when you were in series, how much change were you making systemically from game to game in a series?
Well, I remember for sure in the Dallas series, the year we beat them in the first round, we kind of said at one point, we haven't been taking advantage of the fact that Dallas always kept one defenseman in front of the net. So if the puck went from Zubov's corner over to Darian Hatcher's corner, before Hatcher would ever go from the front of the net, Zubov would have to get back to the front.
Okay.
And in the end, we took advantage of that. We actually took advantage of it a lot. We would move the puck twice behind the net, back and forth.
Okay.
And we ended up scoring about 4 or 5 goals in that series. One pass over, one pass back, and then right back out to the slot. And you know what? It worked. And the thing about it is, I think in the playoffs, your ability to adapt to different things is huge. And right now, I mean, I think the Oilers have adapted to just about everything. I mean, they all year, I think Knobloch's just done an unbelievable job along with Stewart and Koff. I mean, they've done a lot of really good things.
Yeah, they really have. And, Chris Knobloch has come in, and I know he's a rookie head coach, but he's not a rookie coach, right? Like, he's coached at the American League, he's coached at other levels, and he's had success. And he really, his calm demeanor, I think, has been appreciated by his players. But his willingness, Ron, and you were a head coach, you know what? You have to be able to give responsibility to your coaches and really let them run with it. And, he gave Mark Stewart the penalty kill, and my goodness, it's been amazing. And, said Paul Coffey, hey, you tell the defense, and Coffey's like, okay, we're going to move the puck, no more just giving it away. And it's worked. And then he didn't obviously disrupt the power play. I don't think any sane coach would. Like, why would you? It's been the best for 5 years. But, is that like some coaches won't do that, Ron? Like some people, I think what makes them a good coach at times is you can be a little bit of a power control freak at times, but then you have to let go. How do you balance that? And is that something that's impressed you as a coach in his willingness and ability to give guys responsibility and then allow them to run with the responsibility?
It's kind of funny because he's done the same thing with the players. I mean, I don't really know how he's done it with the coaches. I don't know. I'm not in the room. But you watch with the players. I mean, he has pushed buttons that a lot of people were shaking their heads. Why is he doing this? And you know what? I don't think there's one that's come back and kicked him in the ass yet. I mean, everything he has done has ended up benefiting the hockey club. I mean, who would have flipped back to Skinner in the Vancouver series? I mean, really look at it. The other kid came in and did a hell of a job and only allowed 2 goals in the second game, but he had the intestinal fortitude to turn around and say, I think Skinner's going to be the guy that we're going to ride from here on out. And like great plays like that, and taking Fogle out of the lineup one night. What's he got from him since? Unbelievable plays. Like it's been really, really neat to watch and very intriguing.
Yeah. And also you have to have a group of players who buy in and don't, like, I would assume you can't sulk at this time, Ron, but I'm sure you played and you saw guys who at times, looked more about the me than the team, and it didn't work. And it seems like for this group, like there's only 11 skaters out of 23 that have played in every playoff game for the Oilers. Like that's a really low number.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, that's kind of the point that I'm making, is that he hasn't been afraid. He's been forced to do a couple of things because of injury, but he's done other things that weren't forced, that he obviously didn't like what the player was doing at this certain time, and said, you know what, maybe it'd be good for him to rest and watch a game and see exactly how he should be playing instead of the way he is playing.
Yeah.
And lots of times that's one of the few things in the world that you can't not do. If you take a player's ice time away, that affects them. I mean, 100%. You can yell and scream, do whatever the hell else you want, but when you eliminate ice time, that catches attention in a hurry.
Ron Lowe joins. Now, Ron, I remember you coming on our show many years ago and saying how, you know what, you probably regretted the time that you healthy scratch Ryan Smith, and he came back and he responded very well. But I'm sure there was other times where you healthy scratched a guy and he didn't respond, with the effort. Because really, that's the only thing the player can do is say, okay, you know what, I don't have to like you. I'm going to respect the decision, but I'm going to make it so hard that when I get back in, you can't take me out. Right? Did you ever were you surprised ever at times when you did make that move, but the player didn't respond how he should?
Don't really feel like naming names, but Jason Bond Sr. probably comes up.
Okay.
He sit him, and the response was, well, I've never liked any coaches I've ever had anyway, and you kind of fit the mold. So I'm going, okay, that's good, whatever. But no, basically almost every player I've ever had anything to do with in Edmonton, they responded to almost everything you said. And like I said, probably the biggest mistake I made in my life was sitting Smitty out that game. I thought about it afterwards, and I played a Russian Spelenkov instead of him, and it was like, but you know what? Smitty comes back and tells me a lot of times, that was the one thing that kind of crossed my mind, that you have to be as good as you can be all the time. Mm-hmm. And you know what? You regret some of the moves you make. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? No coach is going to like, well, although Knobloch, it seems every decision he makes, but it's only 1 year, right? Like at some point in his life, maybe he'll make one that doesn't work. But you're right. This year, everything he seems to have touched has worked, which also shows, I think, they have a good team, right, Ron? Like you look at how they play, and when you as a coach can outline the best game plan, but then ultimately it's out of your hands, and now it's up to the players to do it. And I think the Oilers have shown their ability to be somewhat chameleon at times and adjust to play different ways.
Hey man, that's what I'm seeing this year. That's a totally different animal than it's been in the past. In the past, you get down a goal or two, and it's chase. You're chasing the game. These guys have been probably the most patient Oiler team I've seen for a long time.
Yeah,
like they will wait it out, and if he has to put the big boys together for 6-on-5 at the end or with 8 minutes left to go, then he does it. But everybody has got the feeling that they're contributing, and I think that's huge.
Yeah, well, it has to be, because you need that as a coach, right? You want every player to feel part of it, whether they're playing 8 minutes or they're playing 28 like Bouchard.
100%. And 9 times out of 10, you have to kind of stroke the guy that's playing 8 minutes, because without them, you don't win. You don't. You just absolutely don't win.
Yeah. No, it's true. They come up, like, look at Corey Perry, right? Didn't play a lot of minutes last game, scored a pretty big goal. So,
yeah. Well, that's one of the best plays I've seen in my life from Connor McDavid, man. I mean, he's got a 2-minute shift going and blows through 4 people and gets the puck to right on the tape. Oh, that's storybook stuff.
Yeah. Like, Ron, you know what? You had a front row seat to Wayne Gretzky and Messier and Coffey and all those great teams. And Wayne Gretzky was by far the greatest player. And what's funny about him and McDavid is how different they can break down plays, right? Like McDavid can do stuff like you just saw. And Wayne, that wasn't necessarily, like, I'm sure he deked through guys a few times, but his highlight reel was more like cerebral, right? It's very unique, and it shows that there are different ways to completely dominate a game.
Yeah, the differences between Wayne and Connor is, if you look at it, it's Connor's speed, and Wayne would be the first guy to tell you. If he could have skated like Connor, he'd probably have 16,000 points. Like, it's really scary. But then again, maybe not, because the things that Gretz did, read the play and read where the open guy was going to be, that was an unbelievable, uncanny knack he had.
Yeah.
He'd be throwing a puck and you're going, what the? And then you go, oh, okay. Now I see it. Yeah. No, I mean, Edmonton is so lucky to have had maybe 5 or 6, probably 10 now, counting Leon and Connor, of the best players that have ever played the game. Yeah. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, like when you put McDavid and Gretzky and Messier and Draisaitl and Coffey and Curry and Fuhr and Glenn Anderson, and yeah, it is, and then you look at a young Evan Bouchard who's only in his 3rd season, and you wonder, like, where's this guy going to go? And like, what are you going to be talking about him in 10 years?
Yep. He's definitely, and the thing I like about Bouch, man, he has definitely stepped up his game in the playoffs as far as, I mean, any really good hockey player is going to throw the puck away once in a while. So get over it. Everybody in Edmonton can get over it, because it happens. But he's played really tough in these playoffs, and he's got smacked from behind and never even shows anything. He's back up on his feet and skating like crazy again. He gets kneed, and I guess he should have laid down and got the 5-minute major for Bennett, but that's not the way the Oilers play. So it's, you know what, it's really cool to watch these guys kind of mature. And oh man, if they win this game tomorrow night, it's going to be a scary city.
Well, it would probably be a little bit of fun, Ron, I would think. As an alumni of the team, like, do you take pride in watching your organization get this close? Like, how much do you enjoy this ride?
Oh, 100%, man. This is a hard thing to accomplish, especially some of the ways that they've done it this year, it hasn't always been flash and dash. You win the 1-0 game, kind of reminded me of when Fierzy stoned the Islanders in Long Island, 1-0. Kevin McClellan scores the goal for them. Like, that kind of stuff is, like I said, storybook again. And these guys, hey, these guys have broke a bunch of records that the Oilers owned for a long time. And this is a good team. And they now believe it again. I mean, I don't think they played really, really bad in one game in this series. They could have won 2 of the 3 they lost very easily.
Yeah. Yeah. The game 2 might have been the only one where Florida was really clearly the better team. But other than that,
they were by far. The other 2 games, you take the goalposts and crossbars and turn them into goals. Which we can all do that all the time, ifs and skips. But, you know, it's incredible. Like, it could have been over for them.
Yeah. Ron, it's always good to catch up with you, man. I hope you're doing great. You sound great, and we will talk to you again soon. Enjoy the games.
Yes, I'm definitely going to enjoy the game.
Awesome. There's Ron Lowe. If you have ever had the opportunity, like, honestly, if I put a list of former Oilers, like, I know that, like, people always think they're great guys. Like, honestly, Messier had the biggest personality. Paul Coffey, really good. You know, obviously great. But I'm telling you, like, if you're looking for like real personality, Ron Lowe. Don't let him say it, but don't repeat this. Struds, Craig McTavish, Dave Semenko when he was alive, rest in peace. Like, there are certain guys, Marty McSorley, where if you would sit down with them, you would be completely like, this guy within a few hours thinking like, hey, he's one of my new favorite people in the world. Like, genuinely really good guys, funny storytellers, and aren't afraid. Like, well, I don't really want to name names. Well, Jason Bonsignor comes to mind. And I love it. I said, well, imagine Jason Bonsignor, young player, coach is going to, well, I never really liked my coaches. What? Hey, kids, under the category responses you shouldn't say, that's it. Because not only their verbal response, but then the physical response of not going out on the ice and learning from what the coach, because a coach doesn't bench you at the NHL level because he doesn't like you. He's benching you because you're not doing what he expects of you, and he wants you to get better. That's just a fact. Now, and some guys don't like how they go about it, but Ron Lowe's not Mike Keenan, right? Ron Lowe is not John Tortorella. Like, they'll go around in a way. Like, that's how people always seem to forget this. The reason Pierre-Luc Dubois won out of Columbus was because of John Tortorella. That's the number one reason, right? And when he said he wanted out of Winnipeg, he didn't even say, he just said he wasn't going to resign. He's a free agent. He was going to test the market at a young age. Just like Tkachuk in Calgary, just like Chychrun in Arizona. There's other guys who've done it. So it's interesting. But Ron Lowe, he would be near the top of the list of guys that you'd want to have a beer with. Quick break. We'll come back. 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, live on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook.
Let's do this, Edmonton.
Off the goal line, rebounding David fires the doors, and there will be a game 6 of the Stanley Cup final.
This is Sports 1440.
Get ready, Oilers fans. During the finals, make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the finals with 10+ odds boosts on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win amazing prizes like season seats for the 2024-25 season, or 5 pairs of seats to 5 separate Oilers games for the 2024-25 season, just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at PlayAlberta.ca. Join the excitement and cheer on the Oilers. Let's bring it home. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the Cheesy Burger Trio, or choose between the large Cheesy Burger Pizza for $18.99, Cheesy Burger Papadilla for $9.99, and Bacon Cheesy Burger Papa Bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Cheesy Burger Pizza at Papa
Papa John's. Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Vincent Pearson at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
The postseason is always exciting for hockey fans, but for GS, it's all about construction season. For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community, but they can't do it without the best team possible. GS Construction is scouting for experienced and motivated laborers, pipe layers or pipe layers helpers, lead hands, operators, top men or women, and a water and sewer foreman. Apply today and start working for the 2024 construction season. Visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers presents a massive 3-day unreserved heavy equipment auction at their Nisku site, June 24th to 26th, 8 a.m. Live on-site and online. Heavy equipment, excavators, loaders, trucks, trailers, plus rig moving dispersal. Register to bid. It's free. Priority bids, on-site viewing, and registration on now. Timed auction starts June 21st. Demand for equipment is strong. Contact your local territory manager to consign. More at rbauction.com.
Babe, don't make a sound. 2 a.m. love, gotta keep it down. Don't wait around for a signal now. Give me some verb, I ain't talking down. You wanna ride in the 6, you wanna dine in the 6. But when I lean for a kiss, you said I'll probably send you some pics. And I'm like, hell nah, been waiting too long. Hell nah, I want that cruel love. Hell nah, been waiting too long. Hell nah, I want that cruel love. Body.
.453. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. It's a busy Thursday, man. The excitement is building. The text line's heating up. Now, by the way, Cons, you have some ticks to give away to the Stingers game tonight?
Yeah, we've got 3 pairs of tickets to give away to the game tonight. They take on Ottawa at 7 o'clock. So
Okay.
however you want to do it, Gregor, we can give these away.
Well, you know what? Hey, it's pre-Positive Friday. Why don't we just do very simple? Text in Stingers with your email, Cons.
I like that route. Yeah.
Yeah. With your email, well, obviously your name too. And Cons will pick. Make sure 100% you can go tonight. Stingers game at the Expo. It's where the Expo Center is. Okay. Former Agricom for old school people. And tip off is 7:00. Pairs of tickets. We have with 3 of them. And so you'll each get 1 pair. Cons will pick 3 random winners to go tonight. And I'm telling you, if you haven't, it's an unbelievable atmosphere. It's great to take your kids. Great to take. Hey, you know what? I don't care what age group you are. It'll be a lot of fun. So 833-401-1440. And Cons will pick someone after we get to 5 questions. 5 questions brought to you by the Brick, where they're always looking to save you more as a Black Friday price and right up until Friday this Sunday. So stop in, man. You can get up to 60% off, 50% off mattresses, furniture, and more at the Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Gregor, question number 1 for you today. It kind of came up at the end of Fantasy Frenzy with Donovan Paulson and myself, but when you think of the cup lift moments, what is your favorite one of all time?
Cup, oof. That's a good question. The one I probably remember most was Messier when he was with the Rangers and how he's just like, Bettman was talking to him. He's just like, shut up. Gave me, it was so funny. Just obviously he wasn't saying shut up, but you know what? I don't know, probably is a little bit older. I don't remember an Oiler lift that really stands out. Like I remember the goals of like Gretzky in 88 and Anderson in 87 and Klima in 1990. That one was pretty good, that lift too, but just the Messier one, I just remember how jubilant and excited he was and how he like kind of ripped it out of Bettman's hands.
I'm going to go with, and one I was waiting to see for a long time, Alexander Ovechkin. Just, the moment he had been waiting for. And I think having to see Sidney Crosby go through it multiple times, other guys that have, been the face of their franchise, Kane and Taves, obviously with the Blackhawks getting to hoist Lord Stanley, he was waiting a long time for that one. So I will say Ovechkin, honorable mention to Joe Sakic, giving it right to Ray Bourque. Even being a young kid, I was like, oh, that was awesome.
We got a lot of people saying they remember Gretzky giving it to Steve Smith in 87. So very good one. Very good one. I do, you know what? Now that you say that, I do remember that because, and typical, like everybody knew what happened in 86. And by the way, like Steve Smith was a beast. It wasn't like he was just a depth guy, man. He was a big time player for them in 87 and 88 and 90. So yeah, good for that. Good memory. Jason and the other ones who mentioned that.
Question number 2 for you. We saw the LA Kings. It's been leaked out. The classic logo, for those that don't know, black silver, made popular the Gretzky era teams in Los Angeles. So I'm going to open this one up to any sport. Which team, in your opinion, needs to move on to something new when it comes to the uniforms?
See, I think teams are changing too much. I'm not sure there's a uni that I hate. I don't think Arizona should. Well, now it's Utah, so they'll never do it, thank God. But anytime Arizona would go back to that terrible, I can't even pronounce the name properly when they had the collar that was black and white. That was the worst jersey of all time. They never should have brought that back. So I don't know if there was one where I look and say, wow, their jerseys are terrible now. So I'm probably the wrong guy to ask because I can't think of one where I look and say, oh, these colors are terrible. Get rid of it. Get a new one. Can you?
Yeah, easy. The Vancouver Canucks. You've got that black, red, and yellow one sitting there with the blade.
Oh, okay.
Pavel Bure-esque, Trevor Linden. Like, to me, such a clean look. Anytime they wore it, even if I don't like the fan base, I love that look. So that's the one I would go to.
Okay.
And I think if they mix that in, things are going good. And I wouldn't mind the Florida Panthers going back to their classic, 1996 or whatever with the actual Panther jumping at you.
All right.
I don't know if they would, but I like it.
Okay.
Question number 3 for you. What do you think of the J.J. Redick deal to become the next head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers?
Well, obviously it wasn't their first choice, but that might end up being their best. This is a big risk. We'll see. Like I know, you know what, they see him on his analyst stuff and that's great, but that's very different than coaching, man. Like this, I don't know, this kind of reeks of desperation for me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, not their first choice. I like him. I actually really like him as an analyst. The podcast with LeBron is interesting. So let's see what happens. I don't know if it's going to be Jason Kidd 2.0, but the guy knows basketball we'll see if analyst work will translate to coaching here.
Here's the thing, though. What you just said, always podcast with LeBron. I'll tell you, when you're better friends with the coach than you are with your teammates, it doesn't work. So to me, this will not end well. Because there's going to be guys who are like, well, it doesn't matter. I got to watch what I say because LeBron and him are buddies. So yeah, I don't. This reeks of way too much control for one player.
Could you imagine if LeBron goes to the Suns? You've got JJ there. We'll see what happens. Question number 4. Let's say you're heading over to playalberta.ca. You want to sprinkle some change on an anytime goal scorer in the Canada-Argentina game. I'm taking Messi out of the equation here. Which player would your bet go on?
Well, wisely, you're taking out Messi, so that's fair.
His odds not great. We want to, fill your pockets a little bit.
You're not you're not going to get a lot of geez. Well, I got to go Canada. So come on, because I want Canada to score. So I'll go Laren.
I like that pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Liverpool fan, so McAllister for Argentina would be one I might look at as an option, but I'll take Jonathan David. Not quite as good of odds as Kyle Laren, but get a PK potentially. You let him step up and hit it.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan David is the way I would go in this one. Final question for you today. Actor Canadian Donald Sutherland passed away at the age of 88.
What a career.
Absolutely. I mean, for the fans of his, there's a lot to choose from. But if you had to pick one, what movie of his would you say is your favorite?
He's had a lot, man. Like I went through his list, and the thing about Sutherland, like he could play the villain really well, and he could play the likable guy quite well. Like when I don't know if you ever seen, I saw a long time ago, Milton's Secret with the young kid. Like he had such a really good range of being a complete jerk, but then also, being kind of the lovable guy, which obviously makes him a good actor. God, that's a good question, man. Trying to think my favorite Sutherland movie. Like some of his best roles weren't when he was the leading guy, right? I might go with Disclosures because I like that movie.
So, I mean, probably won't surprise you. Haven't seen a whole lot of his movies. Some of them I really do want to see. Like there's ones that have been on my list. The Dirty Dozen for sure.
Oh, yes. That's old school. Love that movie.
Talking to my dad today, he said Clute is the one I got to go watch. So
Clute?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
He said, go watch that one. So I'm going to put that on the list and try to get to it and see, obviously, a little familiar with him from MASH. My dad made me watch a lot of MASH growing up.
The other one where he's good in was Hunger Games.
Yeah. He's been in a few of those, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he was great as a real ass in that movie. So, I liked it. So. What a career, though. What a great Canadian actor, 88 years. And you know what I found interesting? His son, Kiefer, put out a post and what stood out to me in the post was he posted a picture of him with his dad when Kiefer was just a little kid. And I think you go back to it in time, and then there's lots of men out there who I think can appreciate this, that they look back like dad was like their first. And not in most cases, it's your first male role model. It's the guy you look up to the most. You respect him a lot, as long as he's a good dad, which most dads are. I know there's some exceptions. And I'm sorry if you didn't have a good dad, but most do. And a lot of times you don't really realize and appreciate your father until you're older. And then once you usually become a dad, you're like, God, this is a little bit harder than I thought, And if you're lucky enough that your dad's around, Father's Day, I know just came and went. But make sure that you tell him in words how much he meant to you. Or I should say means to you now. Because most guys don't do that with their dad. And then, after the fact, geez, I probably should have told him. Because most dads, it's the one thing that you wish, like, what did I make? Like, hey, I didn't screw the kid up that bad and made an impact. But I just found it fitting that the picture he chose was of him as a young boy with his dad, Donald Sutherland, because those young years is when you really form kind of how you view your father in a lot of ways, especially when they're good dads who are just around, right? And at that point, they just want to hang out with you. And we do have a quip we're going to get from Matthias Ekholm about being a dad with his young son at community soccer in Edmonton right now. And that's going to come up in the next hour after the Con Man of Sports 1440 update. Brought to you by High Street Insurance. 10 years as they put people over products. They look for the best insurance for your Canadian-owned company. They can do it right here locally. They've expanded, but they're still locally owned, baby. Go Oilers from highstreetinsurance.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Just under an hour away from Copa America getting going as Canada takes on Argentina from Atlanta earlier today at the Euro. Slovenia, Serbia tying at 1 apiece, as did England and Denmark, and Spain gets past Italy 1-0. In the NHL, the Pittsburgh Penguins have re-signed goaltender Alex Nedeljkovic to a 2-year contract worth an AAV of $2.5 million. The LA Lakers agreeing to on a 4-year contract with JJ Redick to make him the next head coach of the team. And the Chicago Bulls are trading two-time all-defensive guard Alex Caruso to the OKC Thunder for guard Josh Giddey. In the NFL, the New England Patriots agreeing to a 4-year, $36 million contract extension with running back Ramondre Stevenson. His annual pay per season, $9 million, makes him the 7th highest paid back in the NFL. WNBA action earlier today. Sky knocked off the Wings 83-72. Right now, the Sparks up on the Liberty 5-0 with 8 minutes remaining in the first. In town, you got the Stingers taking on the Blackjacks down at the Hive. That one gets going at 7 o'clock. And the Riverhawks on the road once again taking on Kelowna just after 8 p.m. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Edmonton Elks offensive coordinator Jerius Jackson. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Hi, it's Jason Gregor. We're looking for an experienced salesperson to join us as we continue to grow the Sports 1440 brand across the province. Of course, you'll sell Mornings with Carius, Low Tide Show, The Frenzy, as well as my show. No radio sales experience is needed, but you need some sales experience. You have to love sports, and you must be a hunter and driven. There's base salary plus commissions for this great opportunity, and trust me, you'll have loads of fun working with us. Email your resume to gregor@sports1440.ca. We look forward to having you on the team.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Your business is unique. It has its own challenges and its own risks. Does your commercial insurance reflect that? At High Street Insurance, we believe in a personalized approach. As an independent broker, we take the time to create a partnership with you. We get to know your business and ensure that your insurance coverage is specifically designed to protect what matters to you. Insurance that's dependable, transparent, and tailored to suit your unique needs. Good protection starts with understanding you. Reach out to us today at highstreetinsurance.com.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
Picture a chill summer moment. Now, add a McFlurry. Nice, right? Now add the new Strawberry Cheesecake McFlurry with real strawberry pieces and cheesecake-flavored cookie dough. Super chill. Available for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
I'm Rick Showers from Noble RV, and we're having a moving sale at our Spruce Grove store. Now, our new store in Leduc is huge, and we have room for lots more. But we have over 100 quality used RVs here in Spruce Grove, and I'd rather give you a great deal than pay a mover to take it to Leduc. Does that make sense to you, Johnny?
Makes perfect sense to me, Rick. So what's your plan?
Well, Johnny, first thing is we're going to take the moving costs off the price of every used RV in Spruce Grove, and we do accept offers. So find the perfect used RV right here. We have over 100 camping trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, tent trailers, and motorhomes. See anything you like, Johnny?
Might just keep this one for myself, Rick.
Yeah, we get that a lot, but the moving sale is for a very limited time. We have to close the Spruce Grove store in just a couple weeks. But if we happen to have what you're looking for, then it's a win for both of us.
And that's no bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
5:10. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Hey, fellas, have they announced who's performing tomorrow? Well, yeah, they just did. Connor, there's two different performers. You have the all ladies group, Beaches, not Bette Midler. Some of you might not get that joke. Beaches and who's the other? Who else performing, Cons?
Loud Luxury. A couple DJs. That was a song we played. We had a few people asking, actually. That was what we played coming into 5 questions there.
Can you play it again? I want to hear it.
Yeah, I'll just have to search it up.
Oh, all right. Oh. We'll play it the next break. Just don't worry about it. We'll get that. So there you go.
We'll play a new song by them, maybe. Different song.
Loud Luxury and Beaches will be performing tomorrow night. That gets going at 4:30. All right. So I know the lines are going to be super long for people who want to get to the Moss Pit early on. It's crazy, man. People are fired up, as you should be. This, it's a once in 18 years. Game 6. 18 years ago, the Edmonton Oilers hosted the Carolina Hurricanes, and they defeated them 4-0. And man, was there a lot of excitement. People, all Edmonton fans were going to Carolina thinking they were winning for sure. But didn't happen. Now, I'm curious, when this is over, we had Brad Winchester on the show, and he said when they won in Game 5, they came back home, they're like, we knew we were winning Game 6. So I wonder if the Oilers feel the same way. Who knows? We'll find out. Let's get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. And you know what they know? They know good workers, and they're looking for a few of them. If that's you, whether you're just beginner or you're top man, top woman, you're foreman, they got all sorts of great opportunities, and they love promoting from within. Many of their senior people have all started within. They feel it's a huge part of your company's success to have good employees and keep promoting them. Go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction. As we welcome in Mark Spector. Spec, how you doing?
Doing pretty fair, Jason. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. It's a good time of year right now here in Edmonton, of course. After many years, trust me, usually in June, Spec, by this time, like I can remember for, 12 out of 13 years, I would know virtually every draft prospect in and out because basically it had 6 months to look it up because I was the only thing to talk to. The Oilers stunk. So it's a welcome change. It's a welcome change. Now, hey, Oilers fans, they talk about it. They liked it because they want to know everything. But I can tell you that most Oilers fans are like, yeah, I prefer this. Let's talk about what's going to happen on the ice. And, the Oilers, they came out today, Skinner and Ekholm. The one Ekholm answer that I found, and I know you were there, but I want to play it for our audience. Cons, we got this. Here was Ekholm when he asked about just, playing in Edmonton and, some things that obviously there's a few different things that pop up.
The last, especially this playoff run, has been people are excited, people are happy, and I mean it's just a great thing at the end of the day. But having kids, like I actually went to our community league soccer game yesterday for my son, and he comes running up to me and he goes, "Daddy, my teammate wants to meet you." And I go, "Well, that's got to be pretty strange for him, knowing that I'll go meet them, but there is some tricky things that you got to kind of talk to a 6-year-old then afterwards and say, well, this is why and this and that. So there is some challenges with that, but we're embracing it, and it's just fun. Like, people love hockey, obviously. So those are just some things that pop up every once in a while. But again, we've loved our time here, and we still do. So it's I have nothing bad to say.
You know what it was? I like how he worded that, Spec, and he said, "Hey, it's kind of tricky because a 6-year-old, he's just dad. He's not Matthias Ekholm, top pair defenseman for the Edmonton Oilers. He's dad, right?" And it is. I just think it was a really good reminder for people.
Yeah, it's Stu Skinner said that he's letting his wife do the shopping at the grocery store because I could imagine that Stu Skinner walks into a grocery store in Edmonton and probably gets doesn't get a chance to shop quietly. It's it's the reality of living here.
Sure.
Your kids have to get used to dad being a rock star, right? Whereas if you live in Florida or play in a million, most of the other places outside Canada, that's not an issue. But you know what? Like Matthias said, you got to embrace it. It's who we are here. These guys are big guys here. It's a big time of year. And I think, Jay, most Oilers fans, most Edmontonians are pretty respectful. I know we all saw the McDavid video a couple of weeks ago, but generally speaking, I think people give these guys the space they need and they sign the autograph. But I think generally speaking, guys have a pretty good experience here.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. And it is one where, the benefits of being in a hockey mad market are people care, and you have the loudest building in the league. So you can't say, well, I want the crazy fans, but then not anybody who's, and a little 6-year-old, like, of course, wants to meet his dad. And no, I'm sure that's a very innocent encounter, but it was just kind of interesting from his perspective because he's like, Dad, my teammates want to meet you. And, I'm sure the kid's really proud, but maybe he's kind of like, what? Why do you want to meet my dad? Because you're playing and no one else is walking around. Hey, I want to meet your dad, Bob. What? Well, that'd be funny, but it just doesn't happen very often.
Hey, listen, we're this is the last possible game on the hockey calendar that could be played here in Edmonton, and we've reached that point, right? We're playing a game. I wrote a piece on Sportsnet.ca today about all of this, about sort of being Edmonton and getting the last game and having it on the solstice. I mean, it's June 21st. The sun's going down for about 10 minutes tomorrow night. And here we are playing a hockey game in the Stanley Cup final. The city's on fire. It's who we are in Canada. It's what we're all about. And it's a little crazy, and you can complain that it's too late in the season, and I won't disagree with you. And you can say this and say that, but you know what? Let's embrace it. It doesn't happen very often. It's going to be a hell of a night in the city Friday night. I mean, a hell of a night.
Oh,
and if we're so fortunate, we'll all get on a plane on Saturday morning and head to Florida for one last game.
Yeah, well, Spec, we had an email in from Mark earlier. A bunch of fans have chartered a plane, and they have a few seats left. So if anybody is interested who wants to get on that, leaves Sunday and comes back Tuesday. Of course, all dependent on if the Oilers win or not for Game 6. But you got to plan ahead and you got to book it. So I know there's lots of fans out there that are going, that have their tickets purchased for Game 7, and if the team wins, they'll be going, which is quite amazing. So if you're looking to get on a ride for that, send us a text. We'll pass on Mark's information. He asked us to share it with a lot of listeners, so we have, and away you go. The Oilers themselves, Spec, doesn't look like there'll be any lineup changes at all. Florida's going to make a few. Nick Cousins comes in, so the rat factor increases again for Florida. I thought Lomberg was was noticeable in his role for Florida, right? They had a little juice in the lineup. I'm not saying it's a massive difference maker, but the matchup for Chris Knobloch with Rodrigues going to the Bennett and Tkachuk line, and with Tkachuk kind of waking up here, we actually saw Knobloch play more of the McDavid line against Bennett on home ice. Do you think that continues tomorrow night?
Well, that's it. Now you have the matchup, right? That line has, in fact, turning into almost maybe their best line. Barkov's line's cooled off a little bit here. So, when you come home, now you got to figure out who you're matching up against too, or frankly, maybe you don't care. Barkov was supposed to shut down McDavid. We all know how that's gone. And Tkachuk, Tkachuk had one good game in a row. Let's see where that all goes. Bennett's been very good in this final. And you know what? You bring in Cousins, like, all I think about when you bring in Cousins is first of all, Okposo's been slow. Okposo, he has that factor, a little bit of Corey Perry-ish some nights where when the game speeds up, Okposo, he's just not going to play that game. So I'd put Cousins in too. But with Cousins comes power plays, man, and you got to be careful. Cousins' game is physical. It's getting in your face. It's after the whistle, and the way the Oilers' power plays heating up, Cousins better be careful because you don't want to be the guy sitting in the box too many times, giving the Oilers some juice here.
Yeah, well, the Oilers' power play, like that was my next question, Spec. It only stays down for so long. That's just a fact. We saw it very aware and clear in the Dallas series where they went 4 for 5 in the last 2 games. And you know what? They got a little bit of a bounce on Bouchard's shot was going wide. It hits Hyman, boom, goes in. Then they score the McDavid ridiculous goal to Perry. Both of them came late in the power play, so they clearly had to work for it. But it's like anything. Confidence is something that's very, very meaningful in the game. We saw it from Tkachuk. He was kind of a ghost until he scored, and then he was very noticeable. And I think the Oilers' power play collectively, Spec, is going to be even more noticeable because if you look at those power plays they scored on, they didn't really generate much. Like they were kind of struggling early in those power plays.
Yeah, they are. But, here's where all this belief comes from, Jay. All this, the Oilers have this resiliency and this, we've been through this. Because they've turned these series now at the halfway point for 3 series in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They were trailing Dallas. They were trailing Vancouver. They've been trailing Florida. And they make some changes. And their power play hasn't been good early in these series. But, boy, has it been good in the end of these series. And, so now when they look back, they can say, hey, yeah, we always do this. And we've had tangible evidence that in games 4, 5, 6, and 7, our power play gets good and it wins these things for us. So that's where we're at. It's just another series where Edmonton didn't get the start maybe they wanted, but they're finishing strong. And, belief is one thing, but belief with tangible evidence is quite another.
Where do you come out on the Panthers? Like, are they feeling a little bit more tighter? The fact they're like, hey guys, we're still up 3-2 in the series. Who cares that we were up 3-0? We're still up 3-2. All we need to do is win one game. Do you think it changes it all for them?
No, I think there's a pretty confident team there. They're a very confident team. Come on, they've been to 2 cups in a row here. You don't get there if your belief system is weak. This to me is a very big game because I feel like, okay, the Oilers ripped off 2 in a row, but trying to beat a good team like this 3 times, that's, you can't just show up at the rink and think your atmosphere and your crowd is going to win a hockey game for you.
Yeah.
Florida's coming up here and this might be where they're the most dangerous. Edmonton's good on the road. Edmonton has a certain attitude on the road that I like a lot. I think that Connor McDavid will remind his team that, hey, boys, don't just think a loud building's going to win a hockey game for us here. I certainly fear we might get caught up in how much fun and how much atmosphere and how much environment, blah, blah, blah. And the Panthers are coming here on a mission on the road. To me, Game 6, remember Game 6 against Carolina, Jay? It was 4-0 Oilers. And I know you had Winchester on. He knew they were going to win. That game could have been 8-0. I mean, Carolina didn't touch the puck.
Yeah.
I don't see that tomorrow night. I don't see it one bit.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I really don't think Edmonton, the players are caught up in the fans are going to win us the game. I really think that this is a team that knows that, hey, if we want to win, we have to earn it. And when we play to our strengths, we can earn it. And I don't see 97 the way he's dialed in, having them allowed to not be ready. And really, you look like the Henrik Janmark Brown line, like they've been fantastic the last few games. And, in big, and I know people like, yeah, but they gave up a goal. So what, people? As Ron Lowe just said, get over it, Edmonton. Good players are going to turn the puck over. It happens every now and then. So, you know what? And he was referencing Evan Bouchard, but, because he makes way more good plays than bad plays. And that line has made infinitely more good plays than bad plays in the last 2 games.
Oh, and you needed that line. They've been searching for a third line on this team for how long, right? All playoffs, all season. I mean, wasn't it supposed to be McLeod with Holloway and Fogle? Wasn't that the third line? I mean, I think I wrote about that going into the season, how great they looked. Oh boy, that it never panned out. That line never played together and got anything done. So, just at the wire here. I mean, Connor Brown didn't play the first round against LA for Pete's sakes, but now that it counts, they've got this line. Henrique was McDavid's left winger for a good chunk of these playoffs, but now they got it. They got a line here. It's a good line. They got some karma going. They got some chemistry. Their shorthanded efforts are, going to be legendary if this thing goes their way. So you need it, man. You can't just have top guys. Someone in that bottom six got to be a hero. And right now they got a couple of heroes on that line.
Spec, enjoy the evening, and we will chat with you tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good, Jake.
There you go. That's a Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Also, check your text, people. Connor has given you some, or is sending you some tickets for the Stingers Con. So, did you get your winners?
I did. Yes.
Okay, we got the you don't want to name them? It's a secret?
I do it so fast. I want to say one was named James, last name P. There's a few there, and I've gotten responses. So we should be all set up.
Everybody's ready to go? All right. Okay, good to know. Okay, we'll take a quick break. We will return. And when we come back, or talk a little football with the guy who you trust me. You want to learn football? Stay tuned next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Summer can go by quickly, so make the most of all the park hangs, beach days, sunsets, and festivals. Whew. With a $2 plus tax sundae or snack-sized milkshake, or an app-exclusive $1 plus tax soft serve cone. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada, prices exclude delivery. App download and registration required.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Roger Weird at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the word. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Black Friday pricing is back at the Brick. Check out the latest deals in every department, as well as hot new items just in time for summer. This Friday, June 21st, from 5 p.m. to midnight only, shop incredible 7-hour door crasher deals, like 65% off sofas when you buy the matching love seater chair, and 50% off mattresses $9.99 or more. Take advantage of these fabulous deals today, because Black Friday pricing won't last forever. Some exclusions apply. The Brick, saving you more.
The Cheesy Burger Pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the Cheesy Burger Trio or choose between the large Cheesy Burger Pizza for $18.99, Cheesy Burger Papadilla for $9.99, and Bacon Cheesy Burger Papa Bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Cheesy Burger Pizza at Papa John's.
It's time to embrace the drive with Chevrolet. Lease the 2024 Equinox RS from $190 bi-weekly. That's like $95 weekly at 6.9% for 60 months with $3,400 down on an ultra-low kilometer lease. With Equinox's standard Chevrolet Safety Assist, standard power liftgate, available panoramic sunroof, and available adaptive cruise control, you'll have everything you need and more to make this the best season ever. Visit your local Chevrolet dealer for details.
I'm Rick Showers from Noble RV, and we're having a moving sale at our Spruce Grove store. Now, our new store in Leduc is huge, and we have room for lots more. but we have over 100 quality used RVs here in Spruce Grove, and I'd rather give you a great deal than pay a mover to take it to Leduc. Does that make sense to you, Johnny?
Makes perfect sense to me, Rick. So what's your plan?
Well, Johnny, first thing is we're going to take the moving costs off the price of every used RV in Spruce Grove, and we do accept offers. So find the perfect used RV right here. We have over 100 camping trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, tent trailers, and motorhomes. See anything you like, Johnny?
Might just keep this one for myself, Rick.
Yeah, we get that a lot, but the moving sale is for a very limited time. We have to close the Spruce Grove store in just a couple weeks. But if we happen to have what you're looking for, then it's a win for both of us.
And that's NoBullRV.ca.
I like to drink and to smoke to take away the pain. And I don't remember all of my mistakes, and every I got a low with no one to blame. Good night, alright.
Rolling through, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you as we get to the Elks Report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home with the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. And they wish Nugent Hopkins and Hyman good luck in Game 6 from LegacyHeating.ca, as we are joined by the offensive coordinator of the Elks, Jerius Jackson, once again. Jerius, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. I know that, I've read it, listened to some of your players, and, they feel there's maybe a little frustration that in their execution, they feel like they've left some points on the board, some points on the field, whatever term you want to say. Where do you view your offense through 2 games as far as execution level?
Well, we've got to be better. We're moving the ball from 20 to 20, I think, pretty well. But down in the red zone, I think we've stubbed our toe a few times here and there. And I would have to agree with them. We've definitely harped on and talked about, being better at taking the football and limiting turnovers and giving the other team extra possessions, right, as well as penalties, and just being able to take what the defense gives us and just make sure that our focus and attention to detail is at its all-time highest level, especially when we're down in the tight red zone area, because we've definitely had some opportunities, I think, in both games for that matter. We should have walked away with victories, but, we are who we are, and we've got to lick our wounds and get back up and keep fighting. It's still a long season to be played, so this thing is definitely not over.
Jerius, as an OC, when you see your guys not executing in the red zone, what do you do to try to enhance and ensure that doesn't happen moving forward?
Well, just try to keep it as simple as I can. Try not to get too extravagant or call lengthy plays and things of that nature when you get down to the red zone. It's more a focus of who and not necessarily just calling a play to call a play. To me, you focus more on certain people and plays that I feel comfortable that, I've seen the guys execute all week long and execute at a high level. Those are type of the plays that you want to call in the red zone because if McLeod's comfortable and you've seen the guys execute and make those plays, then you feel comfortable calling it as a play caller.
Jerius Jackson joined us. Jerius, you look at Geno Lewis. How do you get him more involved offensively?
Again, it's just all about, where he is in the read, there's a lot of times where he, first, second in the read. And, if that's taken away, then the quarterback has to move on. But, we call plays where, he's definitely in the top 2, if not the top 3, as far as reads go. But, the defense is always going to dictate where the ball goes. We can't just, force him the ball if he's getting double teamed or if the defense is rotating to his side of the field and we've got to work the opposite side of the field. That's just the nature of the beast depending on where you align.
Jerius Jackson, OC for the Elks, joins us. So now you've coached a lot of different quarterbacks and worked with them. How long does it take to really get an understanding of a veteran guy? And is it easier in Bethel Thompson?
I think it's easier from the standpoint that, you can talk ball, you can talk defenses, you can talk coverages, you can, everything doesn't have to necessarily be just drawn up on the board. You can just talk about the different names of coverages and how you want to attack them. And, he's spitballing as well and throwing out ideas, and, they're well thought out and well educated ideas, or just from his experience of playing. I think just from that standpoint, being able to talk ball and talk chalkboard talk without actually having to draw it up every single time, that makes it easier when you have a guy like that pulling the trigger.
Your running game, where is it at in your eyes, and how can it improve?
It's got to be better. We've definitely got to, that's an area where I feel if we do have to, force feed, so to speak, Kevin Brown or Javon Leak, then I think that's where we definitely need to, get the ball rolling a little bit and take some of the pressure off of Mac's shoulders, and, not expect him to have to feel like he has to go out and, win every game with the receiving core we have. I think we, with the O-line we have and the guys that we have toting the rock, we definitely have to do a better job of getting them the football.
So when you say force feeder, like Kevin Brown has 18 carries through 2 games, do you ever script and say, I want so many carries for my running back, or is that too vague to have a specific number?
No, you can have a specific number as far as, how many touches that he should have. I still don't feel like he's too far away from, having looked at the numbers statistically as far as who's leading in the league now. I want to say probably the 150 or so is probably leading right now. I think Kevin is probably half of that or 3/4 of that, but he hasn't even touched the rock a ton. So, but yeah, I'd usually have a number in my mind, and just depending on how the game's going, can dictate whether or how that flow of being able to continue to hand the ball off happens. I mean, this is a passing league. If you're not blocking or reading the proper reads as far as toting the football, then, you look up and you're second and extra or second and long every time, and that's no fun either, right? So sometimes you have to end up throwing it a little more than you wish to, but like I said before, we definitely need to hone in and make a focus on getting Kevin going.
Jerius Jackson, OC of the Elks, joins us. Jerius, going back to Geno Lewis and the red zone play, what about just, is it too simple to say, just throw it up and that guy's wingspan? Because Bethel Thompson talked about it, to say, let's just throw him the ball and we'll see what happens sometimes.
You know what? He deserves that. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things that we saw on film before he ever came here, that he was definitely one of those guys that can out jump, most people in this league. And but I don't think you can just make a living on just dropping back and just throwing up the ball. Like, what if he's double covered? Like I said before, if the defensive coverage is rotated to him, like I don't feel comfortable just saying, hey, let's just drop back, play backyard football, and throw it up in double coverage when we've got other guys on the field that are equally as good that can make plays.
It's early in the season, Jerius, but after how the season started last year, how important do you think it is for your team to get a win as soon as possible? Do you sense that that's going to be major for your team's success this year, or is it too early?
You know what? It's not talked about, on the daily, but I think that's in the back of everybody's minds. I mean, the last thing we want is to look up and, be down a ton of games. I've told these guys stories about, playing in my BC days, and, we were, 1-6, 1-7, and went on to win the cup, went on a run, got hot at the right time. I think it's imperative and important to win some of these early games, because you just don't know how things happen down the stretch. So this is a time that I think we definitely need to get this thing turned around and start winning some of these early games for sure.
Overall, Jerius, I know the new rule allows for 2 quarterbacks on the field. When are we going to see it?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if you guys have seen it from other teams already or not. I hadn't really paid attention to too many of the other teams besides, who we're playing. But, as far as for us right now, I don't think you're going to see that out of us right now. I don't know. We'll see.
Now, when you have a guy like Trey Ford, I'm curious, why wouldn't you do it?
You know what? I mean, for me, some of the plays that we were designed to do. Like you could do rollouts and boots and things of that nature, hand the ball to Trey, and all of a sudden he becomes a passer or whatnot. But, Trey doesn't view himself as a running back. He views himself as a quarterback. So, he'd rather be in there and be behind center and dropping back and calling the plays and doing it from that standpoint. I can't honestly say that, he would, be a willing participant, so to speak, as far as being a tailback or a receiver or what have you. He views himself as a quarterback, and, I can respect that.
No, I totally agree. I was more so thinking you line him up, right? You're all of a sudden you pitch it out and now he's running, and he's very good at running in motion. So it would just be a different option, because I'm not sure the defense is like, when the quarterback has the ball, and even when it's a scrambling quarterback, but all of a sudden, if you pitch it out to a guy who you think's a running back, like, I don't know if their reaction time all of a sudden it's like, oh, damn, that's a quarterback. Who did they pitch to? And then he throws it.
Now that you say that, I think I did see Winnipeg get kind of cute on a play like that with Trevor. I don't think it turned out too well, but I think I do remember somebody talking about that play.
Yeah. So
I see it? Do you remember that play?
I didn't see it this year, but I wish I would have, because I know obviously it's not going to work every time. It's just like every pass completion, but certain guys at certain times, I wonder if it's it's kind of like a trick play a little bit in the, on special teams, but when you have, because, Trey last year, I think he gained a lot of confidence for sure. And I agree with you. You don't want him suddenly like running between the tackles every time, right? Like he doesn't view himself as that player. But like, do you think like football has really changed a little bit? It's become more aggressive. Even the CFL probably runs less than it ever has before. And I just wonder if it'll take a while. And once one team does it continually, like, is it a little bit of a copycat league that maybe others will follow?
I think all leagues are copycat leagues. I mean, if you watch football enough and you're around it enough, you'll see Kansas City running some of the same plays that Philly runs, or San Fran is running some of the same plays that the Baltimore Ravens run. It's just the nature of the beast. It's almost like the fashion industry. Clothes come around, and dress clothes can be considered old and what have you, bell bottoms, and then next thing you know, in 3 years from now, everybody be wearing them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's all about, for me, dealing with the offense, it's about, what our guys can execute, what they can retain, and, how they can go out there and make plays with the plays that we put in place. It doesn't matter what I know. It doesn't matter about plays that I like, per se. If they can't go out and execute it, then, there's no use in me calling it.
Jerius, great stuff. Continued success, and best of luck Saturday night.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You betcha. That's Jerius Jackson, OC for the Elks. Honestly, like I get that, Trey doesn't want, and I'm not trying to pigeonhole him and say he can't be a quarterback, but you have the option. Like, what if you line him up both in the backfield and you're not, you just practice them. Well, now we're snapping it to Trey, or now we're snapping it to the other. You don't know where they're going. Just an idea. Like it's allowed now in the game. Why wouldn't you try it? It's different. I understand it. But when you think about all the best inventions, somebody had to come up with the idea. And then all of a sudden it's like, damn, this works really well. So I'll be curious who's going to be the first in the CFL. Because trust me, once it works, others are going to do it. That's just a fact. Quick break. We'll come back. We'll get to the playoff report and more on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Let's do this, Edmonton.
Off the goal line, rebounded David fires the doors, and there will be a Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final.
This is Sports 1440.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? The Mixed and Mingle League. Join Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club every Thursday as they pair off males and females for a fun and social round of golf. Only $33.30 all season long. Details at cattailcrossing.ca.
Finals fever is here, and it's all about the Oilers. We're boosting your odds and enhancing your parlays on all playoff games. Every bet on any game enters you into a draw to win seats for the 2024-25 hockey season, or 5 pairs of seats to 5 separate Oilers games for the 2024-25 season. Use promo code Gregor50 when you deposit at playalberta.ca to receive a $50 free sports bet. Join the excitement and cheer on the Oilers. Let's bring it home. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hi, it's Jason Gregor. We're looking for an experienced salesperson to join us as we continue to grow the Sports 1440 brand across the province. Of course, you'll sell Mornings with Carius, Low Tide Show, The Frenzy, as well as my show. No radio sales experience is needed, but you need some sales experience. You have to love sports, and you must be a hunter and driven. There's base salary plus commissions for this great opportunity, and trust me, you'll have loads of fun working with us. Email your resume to gregor@sports1440.ca. We look forward to having you on the team.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. You know, guys used to call me a plumber. And now they call you an AC repairman.
Nice. Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Picture a chill summer moment. Now, add a McFlurry. Nice, right? Now add the new Strawberry Cheesecake McFlurry with real strawberry pieces and cheesecake-flavored cookie dough. Super chill. Available for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
At Pizza 73, we know that people get hungry. That's why we created our new XXL pizzas. They're larger than extra large. The big pepperoni pizza with 100 pieces of pepperoni. The big cheesy with over 1.5 pounds of cheese. These pies weigh over 4 pounds. Right now, build your own Big 3 Topper 18-inch XXL pizza for just $19.99. Limited time only. Pizza 73. Hunger happens.
Pizza 73.
The ATV Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
$15 gets you access to the tournament or upgrade your ticket for premium greenside viewing.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATV Classic at Northern Bear Golf Club.
June 27th to 30th.
Get your tickets at atvclassic.com.
Garage Superstar.
Edmonton's newest Traeger dealer is Garage Superstore. So if you're thinking, yeah, I need a Traeger grill in my life this summer, then buy now and save up to $250, but only till July 4th. Plus, you can pay later. Ask for details. Garage Superstore is also a place for garage cabinets and other storage solutions, along with vehicle lifts, garage flooring. See their 8,000 square foot showroom with 6 full-size, fully outfitted garages.
Garage Superstar.
Southside Calgary Trail.
It's officially spring, but when the snow melts, the grass will grow. You'll find a wide selection of Echo spring cleanup equipment at the Lawnmower Hospital. From grass trimmers and chainsaws to log splitters and multi-tool systems, all backed by Echo's outstanding 5-year consumer warranty. Make spring yard care a breeze with Echo and the Lawnmower Hospital. LawnmowerHospital.com.
We're more than mowers, the Lawnmower Hospital.
$5:47. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger running things at online on our YouTube, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook page. Are you watching on Twitter? We got a lot of text flying in 833-401-1440. Hey guys, almost sounded like Jackson really hadn't considered your option there, Gregor. I hope he does. It's a good idea. I didn't know you could do that now from Frank. Yeah, it is. It's new this year in the CFL. And Cons, you're a big football guy. Did you see the Strevler play?
I didn't see the Strevler play, but I mean, I've watched enough football to know that when you throw a wrinkle in on the offensive side of the football, it can be pretty advantageous. I don't have to take you too far back, but remember the Wildcat, Gregor?
Oh, yeah.
The best defensive mind maybe that we've ever seen, Bill Belichick, was flummoxed for a game. The Miami Dolphins ran it with ease. I'm with you. I think you throw Trey Ford out there, whether it's in the backfield, even if it is just a bit of a disguise, something just to make that linebacker think for a second, cause a little bit of a discussion in the secondary, just being ready for what he could do. I think that's enough to make you get a pretty big advantage every once in a while. We're not talking running between the tackles. That's just not going to happen. That'd be stupid to do with Trey Ford. But maybe having him out there, maybe it's a reverse, maybe an end around, getting him to throw the ball and just take the advantage of someone in the secondary who might be relatively new to the CFL game. Maybe they make a mistake. Maybe they bite, think he has to be a runner, and all of a sudden he's throwing the ball downfield. I don't know why CFL teams don't try to incorporate that in. Like I said, not all the time, but every once in a while, it could be quite advantageous.
Yeah. So I agree. And this is something that's very different. And I think it works with specific quarterbacks. When you have a guy like Trey Young, who's that good of an athlete, right? He's pretty accurate on the run. So, you know what? We've seen him scramble all over the place. And just imagine if you lined up two quarterbacks and the D line's like, well, who's it going to? Just a different wrinkle. Not saying you have to use it all the time. And I know Trey Ford, I view myself as a quarterback, and I get it, but you know what? You want to get on the field more? Maybe it's something to consider. Just as an add-on wrinkle. I'm not saying don't be a quarterback. I'm just saying put two quarterbacks on the field and see every now and then how it impacts the opposition's defense. That's all. I definitely don't see it being one where, hey, Trey Ford, now I'm running between the tackles on a regular basis. Like that's not what I'd be looking for at all. And I don't think so either. So we'll see where it goes. A few other texts flying in, 833-401-1440. Many of you are fired up wondering about the Oilers and next season. Hey guys, what's the buyout on Campbell specifically? I looked it up yesterday. So Campbell's a $5 million cap hit. So if you bought, and he's got 3 years left. So if you bought him out, it would be over 6 years. Now, next season, the cap hit would be $1.1 million. Then it jumps up, I think, to 2.3, 2.6, and then it's 1.5 in each of the last 3 years. So a dead space of 1.35. So the first 3 years, which you owed 5, it would be 1.1, 2.2, and 2.6. Now, keep in mind that while we say he's a $5 million cap hit, he's really a 3.85 cap hit right now because they can bury him in the minors. So it's 3.85 minus 1.1. So that's a savings of 2.75. Then you have to sign a backup, probably at league minimum, $750K. So now it's $2 million savings. That's what you get next year. Now, the year after that, it's not as much, right? It's about $1 million savings. And then the year after that, it's even less. Now, the cap hit's going to continue to go up. So this coming season is likely the big reason why they would do it, because it saves you the $2 million. You get your backup. And $2 million right now, that could be Brown and Janmark, or close to the majority of their contract. So there is a benefit to do it. And it could make a lot of sense. So there you go. That's the exact buyout for Jacques Campbell. On behalf of Halley and Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Thanks as always for listening to the show. We appreciate it. We hope that we know. I don't hope. We know you'll all be ready for tomorrow. Game 6, the Oilers and the Florida Panthers. The Panthers will be in town. I think they're arriving. They might have already just landed, and they'll be having a press conference around 6 or 6:30 today. Let's get to Sports 1440 update brought to you by the Hockey Heroes Society, where they will have their big NHL golf tournament alumni with some NHL alumni. It's all in support of the White Court Boys and Girls Club and a Hockey Heroes program, which is an amazing program. So if you're interested, you want to golf, meet some great NHL alumni, go to hockeyheroesgame.com. hockeyheroesgame.com. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Had a signing off the ice setting in the NHL. The Pittsburgh Penguins re-signing goaltender Alex Nedeljkovic to a 2-year contract with an AAV of $2.5 million. In the association, the Lakers agreed to terms on a 4-year contract with J.J. Redick to make him the head coach of the Lakers franchise. And the Chicago Bulls trading two-time all-defensive guard Alex Caruso to the OKC Thunder for guard Josh Giddey. In the NFL, the Patriots bringing back Ramondre Stevenson on a 4-year contract extension worth $36 million. Major League Baseball right now, just one game going on. Cards lead the Giants 3-0. That's heading into the second. Later tonight, the Padres will take on the Brewers. First pitch, 7:40. 5 to 10 minutes away from kickoff at the Copa Americas as Canada takes on Argentina from Atlanta, Georgia. Earlier today at the Euros, we had Serbia and Slovenia tying 1 apiece. Denmark, England doing the exact same, and Spain gets past Italy 1-0. In the WNBA tonight, right now, Liberty lead the Sparks 43-36 at halftime. Sabrina Ionescu leading the way, 15 points for New York. Earlier today was the Sky over the Wings, 83-72. In town, the Stingers will take on the Ottawa Blackjacks down at the Hive. Tip-off just after 7, and the Edmonton Riverhawks will wrap up a series in Kelowna tonight before heading on to Kamloops. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we've got Turn Sports. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to